In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my RonyiQ. They are rare and they are few who can compare with RonyiQ. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for RonyiQ. They are rare and they are few who can compare with RonyiQ. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for RonyiQ. RonyiQ. It's time for RonyiQ. RonyiQ. It's time for RonyiQ. In the morning while I'm driving, Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising. I cannot believe we've made it to Friday already. Thank you for being here. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button. If you're looking on your mobile phone, tap your screen twice. Tap your screen twice if you're watching on your mobile phone. I wanted to talk about the news that has gone on this week. You may know that there was a vote in Virginia to change their map. Now, the vote passed, and then the next day, a single judge just wiped out all of the votes for the map change in Virginia. She said that the vote was illegal, so they've sued to appeal her ruling. So if you're not aware about that, the reason why I think that this is just so bold and so important to understand is, what are they going to do during the midterms? What won't they do during the midterms? So we understand that all of this map switching in the fifth year of the census, if states are going to change their electoral maps, they are to do them when they do the census, because that is when they definitively know where people are located based upon the census. So Texas was the first one to gerrymander their districts, and now Democrat states and are doing it. But like California, Virginia put it up to the Virginia voters if they wanted to change their maps. And overwhelmingly, their voters says, yes, we want to change our maps. So it's not like they unilaterally did it based upon Donald Trump saying, hey, I need 5 more seats in Texas. And then Greg Abbott rolls over there to the State House and they write up new maps. No, they put it to the people. And the people said, we want to fight fire with fire. Now, what is amazing about this to me is that the Republicans are so aghast at the nerve of the Democrats doing the same thing that they are doing. They never complain when they gerrymander these maps all over the place. But how dare the Democrats do the same thing we're doing? I mean, where do they get the balls to be upset about this at all? I didn't hear any uproar. Now, the last state that they're waiting to see who is if they're going to gerrymander their seats is Florida. So all eyes are on Florida. So why do they consider Florida the last state is what I'm wondering. Because Elliot Pritzker is over Chicago. Now, over Illinois. So they have largely left Pritzker out of the equation. So Pritzker, are you rallying up to meet Florida if Florida decides to change their seats? Huh, Elliot? Okay, so let's get into it. I wanted to talk to you about this clown, Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary. The Commerce Secretary who is profiteering off of the refund of the tariffs. Now, you know that the tariffs have been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of the United States. Let me see who's in here. Hey, Liz. How you doing? It is always good to see you. Now, the tariffs have been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, yesterday, was it? I believe it was Wednesday, was the first day that companies were able to fill out a form to get their tariffs back. So, how it works is tariffs are paid by the company that are getting goods shipped to them. So, a lot of small businesses uh, went out of business. U.S. businesses went out of business because they could not pay the tariffs that were levied on the things that they needed in their businesses. Some businesses saw their bill go up from the thousands to the hundreds of thousands for the same amount of things that they were ordering, and therefore they could not stockpile their businesses, and they went out of business. Other businesses, they said, okay, we're going to pay, and we're going to slowly increase the prices on our goods, so we're going to pass the cost off to the customer. And some people said we just gonna straight out pass this cost off to our customers as soon as we get it in the store. So understand that these businesses pay these tariffs and they pass the prices on to you, who therefore paid the tariffs that these businesses had to pay. So the Supreme Court said that the United States government had to return all of this illegal money. Yes, it was illegal. You heard the Democrats say that how they were putting tariffs on every country was illegal. We know that they wanted to hide the fact that you were the ones who were paying the tariff because Jeff Bezos, he didn't want to be blamed. He wanted to make it appear that Amazon was still the best place in the world to buy everything that you needed. So he was going to leave the price that you were going to pay if you bought something from Amazon, and then he was going to show you the price that it was increased because of the tariffs. He was going to have the retail price when you checked out, and then you know how they add the tax on, he was going to add that on, and then he had the third price, the tariffs that they were going to add on, so you could plainly see it. And 4547 pissed the bitch at Jeff Bezos. So Jeff Bezos decided to just hide the fact that you were paying the tariff costs against his own business. Hey, detach myself, against his own business. Instead of showing you what he had planned to show you, that you're paying this amount because of these tariffs, Jeff Bezos rolled over on his belly like a bitch and just increased the prices. Now, So all of these companies that have had things shipped over, they had to pay the cost of these tariffs. While they continue to tell you that the other countries pay tariffs, no. The people who are receiving goods that are shipped in overseas are the ones who pay the tariffs, and they pass the tariffs on to you, their customers. Period. Point blank. Now, since the Supreme Court said that was unconstitutional what they did, and they have to return all of the tariff money, uh, as of Wednesday, corporations have started lining up to receive their refund from the government. All of that money that the government took for tariffs, they lined up for it. So now, if you know Scott Lutnick, you know that he's a liar. In the first place, Scott Lutnick was always up under Donald Trump with that stupid laugh of his. We brought so much money in from the tariffs. I tell you, we have so much money, and we're going to do so many great things with this money that we brought in from the tariffs. Scott Lutnick was the main cheerleader for these tariffs when all of this tariffs talk was going on. He was always at Trump's side, lying about these tariffs. But what he was not telling you, Scott Lutnick was previously over Cantor Fitzgerald. That was his company, Cantor Fitzgerald. And when he got a job in the government, he gave that business over to his two sons. So, what his two sons did, see, these people knew that these tariffs were illegal. They knew that that it could possibly be turned over in court. So how do you know that? Because his two sons who took over Cantor Fitzgerald, these two sons went to different corporations and bought off their tariff debt and said, "Hey, you want to get from under these tariffs? We'll pay you a penny on the $100 that you owe, and we'll pay you off. And instead of being out $2 million, we'll give you $200,000 to buy your tariff debt from under you." So now Cantor Fitzgerald owns these companies' tariff debt because they were like, well, shit. At least I'm getting something. At least somebody want to give me some relief for all of this debt that I had to pay. So now Cantor Fitzgerald owns all this debt. But the debt is going to be repaid from the government. They are going to these companies, big and small, had to pay these tariffs, and then Cantor Fitzgerald came in and said, "Well, we'll give you 500,000 on your $5 million debt. Here, you want this 500,000? Now guess who's getting the $450,000? Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick's sons. So they were playing the market and they won. This is who was in your government. Now, Howard Lutnick is going to act like he didn't know about any of this. No, I'm no longer with the company. I have no more dealings with the company. Okay, so you have your sons who are so close to who are doing your business. We are to believe that your business is not intertwined. Your business is their business is not getting information from the government that their father is in. And now they are going to come out. These people who did not pay tariffs are going to get a big bulk of the tariff refunds. From whom? From you. You who these tariffs were passed on to. The American people. Not just the company is getting fucked by Cantor Fitzgerald. You, American citizens who everything in your life increase. The price of everything in your life increase because of these tariffs. And Howard Lutnick's sons are going to make off with the money, the extra money that you had to pay out of your pocket. Because of these tariffs that was put on these companies that had goods shipped overseas, and then they pass the price on to you. See, there is no apparatus where you as an individual citizen can fill out anything to get the extra money back that you paid. No. These rich boys, the sons of this liar, are getting all the money that you had to pay extra because of these silly illegal tariffs. Is America great again yet? I'm just curious. Is America great again yet? Okay. So that's one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about. So let's get into Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick was on the Capitol. Hold on, let me find my stuff. Okay. Howard Lutnick was at the Capitol answering questions. And Howard Lutnick had a hard time answering questions. And this situation with his former business, with his son, it definitely came up in his questioning. So we're going to go through a couple of questions that were directed at Howard Lutnick during his hearings. Let me put this page up right quick. One second. Here we go. So you paid the tariffs, and Howard Lutnick's sons are going to get all the money that you paid these for paying these tariffs. You get nothing. How American is that? Okay, let's get into Howard Lutnick and his shenanigans. Let's get into this. Here we go.
At the expense of American taxpayers.
Being a single mother, it affects me.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, it's JT Siskowski with Status Coup, and just when you thought that the Trump White House could not possibly get more corrupt, we have a new sign of corruption that could take the cake on all others.
Now, if you have been here, getting your news here, I've already talked about this story about 2 weeks ago. This story broke when this story broke about 2 weeks ago when they figured out what they were going to do to allow companies to get their money back from the government. So this is not a new story, but it is being reported more widely now. But if you had been here getting your news from me, you already knew this. But Status Coup is talking about it as well. I think I got it from a political or mediaite.
And it has to do with tariff refunds. Of course, American workers getting screwed over in this whole deal, but don't worry. The Trump administration and their families are going to be A-okay. Now, this is a little bit of an older letter, but then it's going to relate into the news of the day here by Jamie Raskin, who is the Democratic ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee. And he sent this to the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, in the Trump administration, as well as Lutnick's son, Brandon. And he said, Secretary Lutnick, you were instrumental in developing and implementing President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. But while you were championing these illegal tariffs and telling the American public to rest assured tariffs are not going away, Your son, Brandon Lutnick, as your immediate successor as chairman of your firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, was reportedly betting millions of dollars that they would be struck down by the courts, meaning that if the tariffs were found to be unconstitutional and the federal government had to repay those tariffs, the companies would not be the ones getting the money. They were selling that right, usually for 25 cents or so on the dollar, meaning if we paid $20 million in tariffs and you as an investment company wanted to buy the rights to it, you would give me, the company, $5 million. And then anytime the federal government wanted to pay back those tariffs, you would be the one who got my $20 million in tariffs back. So it has this potential for massive return. Now that the Supreme Court has finally rejected President Trump's brazen and unlawful power grab, the firm reportedly stands to make extraordinary profits of millions of dollars at the expense of American taxpayers. The federal government has just released how it is going to be accepting these applications for reimbursements for tariffs. At the same time, Secretary Lutnick, you have been a key architect and a cheerleader in chief of the administration's tariff policy. You participated in the losing strategy of bypassing Congress to unilaterally impose these tariffs, and thus have an insider's view of the tariffs' profound legal vulnerability, the administration's weak litigation hand, and the prospects that the tariffs would be struck down. Extraordinarily valuable and material non-public information to anyone betting against the tariffs' legality and seeking to profit from their invalidation. Cantor Fitzgerald denies that they made any sort of purchases, but I'll say that Wired, the magazine, has reported that apparently they did make a purchase, $10 million of tariff refunds, and which had the potential to be grown much larger. This is the kind of blatant inside dealing that we are dealing with the Trump administration. There are a few niche areas where people are likely to see more of a return, like individuals may be more likely to receive refunds from delivery companies like FedEx and UPS, which collected tariffs on imports directly from consumers. So I guess if you sent a FedEx package, you can expect a small return on whatever upcharge you got as a result of tariffs there. But you're not going to see that on any of the groceries that may have gone up in price that you have been paying for, or anything that you have been paid for that is shipped into this country or is made using materials that are shipped into this country, which is just about everything. We, of course, just got back from doing a whole road trip on this topic of rising expenses, the war on people here in the United States.
Anyone that is for this war is
Okay, so this link is in my description box under tariff theft. Go over there and please check out status quo. So now let's see what else. Now let's talk about how another way why and how these Nepo babies are using their connections. And you remember they said that the Hunter Biden is profiting off of the White House. Let's talk about the absolute balls of Barron Trump. Did y'all know that Barron Trump was coming out with a new product? Are you aware that Barron Trump, the child of the war age child of Trump is sitting out about to debut a beverage instead of being over there in Iran with most war age people? Why isn't Barron Trump over in Iran? But Barron Trump is thinking about businesses he's going to make. And how apropos would it be that Barron Trump is thinking about taking some type of business that is associated with Hispanic people? They never miss a moment to try to take over something from another culture. Another culture. Never miss the opportunity. So let's see what Barron Trump, as his father, is targeting Hispanic people in the United States. Hey, take them. But hey, we want to keep their ideas. We want to keep their culture, but we just don't want them. We just want to steal their culture and make money off of it. Let's get into the Baron Trump of it all.
If Donald Trump loves war,
just in case you haven't heard about that, let me see. I think it's where is it? I don't want you to hear the whole story, his whole commentary. I just want to get to the Baron Trump commentary. I think it's right here. Here we go.
$1 billion from the Treasury, you're just doing it out in the open. That's dumb shit. Like, for many years after that, going to profit massively off of using and abusing the presidency. But everything they do is so, I feel like calling it tacky and classless kind of diminishes the fact that it's large-scale fraud and the biggest scandals in presidential history. But it's all such dumb shit. Like, oh, you're going to get a jet? They're giving you a $400 million jet. You're just doing it out in the open. That's crazy. You're stealing $10 billion from the Treasury. You're just doing it out in the open. That's crazy. And that's been the difference between Trump, it's funny to say, and Barron's take on these things. Barron Trump has been insider trading. Like we know this. Barron Trump has been using crypto or prediction markets, the stock market, to make his money. That's what's happening with Barron. But he decided, in his infinite business genius and wisdom, that he was actually going to pivot. Have a little bit.
And speaking of these prediction markets where people have been making hundreds of thousands of dollars predicting things that the president is about to write on his live social about the war, about tariffs, about any decision that is going to bring the stock market up or down. Speaking of those prediction markets that the president refused to regulate, refused to let states regulate these prediction markets, guess who's on the board of both of the largest prediction markets in this country? Guess who's on both of the boards? Now, these are competing companies. But guess who's on both of their boards? Where people are just mysteriously making bets 15 minutes before something that is going to affect the stock market happens. Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of two competing prediction sites. Let's get back to Barron.
Bit more public-facing brand. How do you think that went? Well, terribly. Barron Trump's get-rich scheme flamed ahead of launch. Barron Trump's new beverage company is quickly amassing haters before it's even launched. The Instagram page for Soyuz Yerba Mate, a business that lists the youngest Trump as one of its directors, was flooded with bitter comments as it teased its May.
What is Soyuz Yerba Mate? That is some type of Hispanic name, some type of, I don't know if it's Mexican per se, from Mexico, but that is something.
Launch. Yerba Mate is a traditional herbal tea that originated in, get this, South America, and the company's name is drawn from the sol, the Spanish word for sun. The business is headquartered at a 4,500 square foot property in Palm Beach, Florida, where Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate is also located. What a shock. Growing up in South Florida, our lifestyle was shaped by the opportunity to spend time outdoors year-round. That experience led us to create Soyuz, a beverage designed to complement life in the Sunshine State, the company says on its LinkedIn page. Soyuz captures the full cycle of the sun and that it begins where it ends. The irony of the branding wasn't lost on social media users who pointed out that the Trump administration has been hard at work targeting Latino communities under its hardline deportation blitz. Nice cultural appropriation, Baron. They don't want Latinos in the U.S., but they want their products. Buy yerba from Latin American countries and do this beverage the natural way, one user wrote. Funny the name is Soyos. Spanish words, given Daddy Cheetos politics. Shouldn't this be called ice or white or something? Another asked. Oh, wow. A family tied to anti-Latino rhetoric, profiting off of something deeply rooted in indigenous and South America culture. Yeah, no. Yerba mate carries real history and survival and shouldn't be sold by the son of the man who loathes Latinos, one commented. The company, of course, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Business registration documents list 19-year-old Barron as director, along with 4 others. This is more than it.
So, this link is in my description box as well. Go over and check out his reporting. This is in my description box under Baron the Mexican. So, I'll go over and check this guy's page out. He does great commentary as well. Now, I want to get into Pam Bondi. Now, you know Pam Bondi has been hiding the Epstein files. Now, what I find strange about all of this Epstein file stuff is Pam Bondi and now Todd Blanche, the acting director of the DOJ, are hiding over 3 million pieces of evidence in the Epstein files. A law was created that they must turn over everything. But Todd Blanche said they're done turning over things. There's nothing else that they're going to turn over because none of this have to do with anything that the committee is looking for. When the law says that he must turn over everything. So Todd Blanche, you know Todd Blanche used to be Donald Trump's personal attorney. Todd Blanche was Donald Trump's personal attorney when Donald Trump was found guilty of 34 felonies. So this is the attorney, and this is his work product of getting of letting not being able to try a case that didn't get Trump 34 felonies. Now, this is what he says. Fuck what the law say. He said he's not giving over any more information. Now they're talking about giving Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. Now, all of this pardon conversation did not start until what's her name? The lady came out and told Melania that she's going to tell everything about her pedophile husband, and you don't know what I know, and watch your mouth when you talking about me, bitch, and all of this. Amanda Ugaro, the 20-year-long friend of Melania and Trump, who was at both inaugurations, who was always at the White House galas and all of this, whose husband still works for 45, 47, even though they both met when they were, they owned, what is it? What should I put it as? When they were both managing models, and the models that they were managing usually came from somewhere in Europe, and a lot of these models were under the age of 18. So this is how long this guy has been knowing Donald Trump. Now all of a sudden, that since Amanda Ugaro has came out and said she's going to tell everything and she don't have nothing to lose, now there is talk about a pardon. Now they talked to James Comer, and James Comer said, "Well, I think she's done very bad things, and I don't think she ought to be released." But there's a lot of people in our caucus who thinks that she should get a pardon. Now all of a sudden, your Republicans representatives are also thinking that Ghislaine Maxwell, for some reason, should get a pardon. Now they're talking about all of this pardon stuff. That what I find really curious about all of this. Now, all of the Epstein files were supposed to be released. Now, we have talked about some of the things in these Epstein files that has been released about different men who are in the Epstein file, like Les Wexner of Victoria's Secret fame, who was named as a co-conspirator, and they redacted the fact that he was named as a co-conspirator. They totally redacted it, and then they said, "Oops, we didn't mean to do that." They redacted the co-conspirators that the FBI had named co-conspirators. This is what your DOJ is protecting people who they've already found to be co-conspirator prior to this 45-47 DOJ getting into office. So, you know what I find really, really strange about this? Now they are understand Epstein allegedly took his own life before he went to trial. But Ghislaine Maxwell went to trial, and she was convicted. She was absolutely convicted. So if they are releasing things from the Epstein file, do you also notice that the shit that got Ghislaine Maxwell has not been released in these Epstein files? You notice nobody else is noticing that has not been any information about what got Ghislaine Maxwell convicted. None of that shit has been released in the Epstein files. A whole lot of bullshit and blacked out pages and things about other people all over the world. But it's very obvious that the shit that got Ghislaine Maxwell convicted has been held by this DOJ. So why do you think this DOJ is not giving out the details of the shit that Ghislaine Maxwell did, which would be in these Epstein files? Why do you think they don't want you to know exactly what she did that got her convicted? They're hiding it. They're hiding it because they always knew that they may have to pardon this bitch. Because they want her to come. They want you to hear the story from her, and they want you to believe whatever she say. Well, she was there and she know, but they're not giving you what the state knew, what the jury knew about her ass. But they want to they plan to present Ghislaine Maxwell to the American public as the voice that knew. And making sure you don't know who Ghislaine Maxwell really is. So this is what I find very interesting about these Epstein files and the release and the things that are being withheld. And everything about Ghislaine Maxwell that got her convicted has been withheld from the public knowing. That's what I want to say. Now, Pam Bimbo thought that, oh, I'm no longer the DOJ, so I don't have to show up for my subpoena. So they are absolutely going to file contempt charges against Maxwell to try to get her to show up for the lawful lawful subpoena that they gave her. They didn't subpoena the head of the DOJ. They subpoenaed Pam Bimbo. So let's get into the stuff that I just was telling you about. This link will be in my description box under Pam Bimbo. Let's get into it.
Nothing from her, nothing from any of her. We have heard absolutely nothing from her, nothing from any of her legal representatives, nothing from the DOJ. So she has left us no choice. She didn't show up to her scheduled deposition, which we have under law for her to actually come. The Republicans also agreed to that subpoena. They released it with Chairman Comer, and we've heard absolutely nothing from the AG. But what we do know is that half of the files have not been released. Survivors have been, of course, as you know, doxxed and put in danger because their names and information have been put actually in the files that were supposed to be redacted. And so there has been absolutely, in this case, a massive cover-up that's been directed by the AG, and she has not answered her question. So she must come under oath, and stay tuned because imminently that contempt charge is going to be filed, and we expect that process to go through and for her to show up in front of our committee.
That was the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Robert Garcia, threatening contempt charges against Pam Bondi, given her defiance of a congressional subpoena wherein she was supposed to testify in a sworn deposition on April 14th. Now, obviously, that date came and went, and Bondi refused to appear because, after all, why would we expect the nation's former top law enforcement official to actually follow the law? And keep in mind, Bondi seems to have made this decision to refuse to appear in defiance of even the Republican chair of the committee. A couple of weeks back, it became clear that the DOJ was trying to claim that because Bondi was no longer AG, that somehow the subpoena was no longer valid. The Assistant Attorney General wrote to James Comer, chair of the Oversight Committee, quote, Ms. Bondi no longer holds that office. As a result, because Ms. Bondi no longer can testify in her official capacity as Attorney General, the department's position is that the subpoena no longer obligates her to appear on April 14th. We kindly ask that you confirm that the subpoena is withdrawn. Only small problem, the office of the Attorney General was not subpoenaed. Pam Bondi was subpoenaed. And just because she's left that position does not mean that the subpoena for Pam Bondi goes away, a point that ranking member Robert Garcia made to me in a recent interview.
First, the subpoena that we put in place does not have any mention of whether the fact, she's AG or not. And the subpoena is for Pam Bondi. And so whether she is in the position or not, she legally is required to appear before the Oversight Committee on April the 14th, which is a date that Comer set for her to come. We've checked this all already out today with all the lawyers and the attorneys. And so she now has to come testify. She can come and do the right thing and finally be honest about actually what happened, why the cover up, why 50% of the files have not been released. And look, she no longer has to work for Donald Trump. So let's actually get to the truth.
And Garcia reiterated that position publicly, writing, quote, now that Pam Bondi has been fired, she's trying to get out of her legal obligation to testify before the Oversight Committee about the Epstein files and the White House cover-up. Our bipartisan subpoena is to Pam Bondi, whether she is the Attorney General or not. She must come in to testify immediately, and if she defies the subpoena, we will begin contempt charges in the Congress. The survivors deserve justice. And in fact, early signs point to the fact that even Republicans agreed with Garcia's position. According to a spokesperson for the Republican-led House Oversight Committee, quote, the Department of Justice has stated Pam Bondi will not appear on April 14th for a deposition since she is no longer Attorney General and was subpoenaed in her capacity as Attorney General. The committee will contact Pam Bondi's personal counsel to discuss next steps regarding scheduling her deposition. Quote, scheduling her deposition. In other words, doesn't exactly sound like the DOJ's gambit will have worked here, considering even James Comer's representative is suggesting that this is now just a matter of rescheduling the deposition, not canceling it. A move that clearly Pam Bondi didn't seem too intent on following. And one reason for that is Comer right now already took a hard line on enforcing compliance with subpoenas. Remember, he threatened the Clintons with contempt of Congress for nearly defying their own subpoena.
Well, here we are again. I don't think it's any secret. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton joined her husband in defying a bipartisan lawful congressional subpoena to show up today. I think what's most disappointing to the Oversight Committee is the fact that we have, in good faith, negotiated with the Clintons' attorneys for 5 months. Throughout the past 5 months, they've implied that.
But he made no such statement about Pam Bimbo.
And because serious questions regarding the DOJ's non-compliance.
Now, this is a letter that Congress wrote to Comer about getting this deposition.
That Pam Bondi must testify. She, along with Ro Khanna, sent a letter to James Comer just weeks back saying, quote, "We urge you to make clear former Attorney General Pam Bondi remains obligated to comply with the Oversight Committee's subpoena and appear for her scheduled deposition on April 14th.
You see how he came out and said that Clinton didn't show up for a lawful subpoena. But he did no such thing, and because he did no such thing, he was sent a strongly worded letter saying, "You better make sure that Pam Bondi shows up. The same thing that you did with the Clintons. You better make sure this woman shows up."
14th, we moved to subpoena Pam Bondi, and the committee voted to approve this motion on a bipartisan basis because the U.S. Department of Justice still has not complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and because serious questions regarding the DOJ's non-compliance and their handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and his associates while she was Attorney General. The removal of Pam Bondi as Attorney General does not diminish the committee's legitimate oversight interest in seeking her sworn testimony or the need for accountability and information about files withdrawn from the public by the DOJ. On the contrary, it makes her sworn testimony even more important, especially with respect to actions she took as Attorney General, matters already under investigation, and decisions made under her leadership. When Pam Bondi appeared last month for a briefing, you reiterated you would continue to pursue her sworn testimony and would discuss holding her in contempt of Congress if she failed to comply. She also stated that she would follow the law with respect to her subpoena, which clearly requires her to appear before the Oversight Committee. As you know, Congress's oversight authority does not end when an official leaves office. In fact, just last year, the committee issued subpoenas to 6 former attorneys general, spanning multiple administrations of both political parties. The American people deserve answers about whether Congress was misled and whether information is being withheld by the DOJ. We ask you to publicly reaffirm that Pam Bondi must appear on April 14th for a sworn deposition as ordered or face appropriate enforcement if she refuses to comply. So with the margins as thin as they are in the House, if you...
Let me tell you something. The simple fact that Pam Bondi tried to bring charges against James Comer, who hasn't been over the FBI, I think, in over 10 years. Now, she feels that her DOJ can file charges against former officials. The charge that had to be dropped because it was some bullshit that she was trying to put on James Comer that was thrown out of court. But now all of a sudden, within the term that she was serving as DOJ, she feels that she don't have to come before Congress when subpoenaed. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that very ironic? And another thing, you hear in the letter that they said that it is already under investigation. Now, we know that we have inspector generals over every department of our government. The inspector generals, I showed you a clip of all the inspector generals. They are actually what was considered to be the Doge before Doge, because the inspector generals are the ones who go through different departments and find out where they are doing things illegally or where they are wasting the taxpayer dollars. These what the inspector generals are tasked to doing. This is their job. So now the inspector general over the Department of Justice has opened up an investigation into this current DOJ. So I don't know what will be gained from this, but there is now an inspector general's investigation over this current DOJ. So we'll see what happens. That's all I can say. We will see what happens. Now, okay, what else? Now, here is the Republicans' push. Here's the Republicans' push to pardon Maxwell. Let's get into this. Just wanted to update you and with what your government is up to.
Well, and then Ellie is such a trooper that I literally messaged her. I'm like out saying since the summer, watch Donald Trump and what he says about Ghislaine Maxwell. And I remember Ellie, and please, if you know any other,
I remember.
I know there's at least two instances of Donald being asked publicly about whether or not he will pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. He has never said no. The first time he says, I could pardon her if I wanted to, couldn't I? The second time he said, Glenn, haven't heard that name in a long time. Huh, interesting. Your response to this Politico article?
I mean, it's just, if she gets pardoned, it's just so obvious what's going on. It's been in the works since last July when she did the proffer with the now Attorney General who used to be Donald Trump's defense attorney, which is just like, it's just so silly. It's so silly that the entire world can't look at this and be like, well, this is so obvious. Because in that proffer, she lied her way through it. And maybe only a few people know she lied. But like, I was so deep in the files by that point, I'd memorized everything. And I was like, well, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I can pull up that document. I know what date she said that. She got to Donald Trump. It was just like, quick. Said her 3 little statements about him. They shut it down.
And remember, at the time this was going on, I said, why are they sending the assistant attorney general out here to question her? He wasn't nowhere near the DOJ. He had no workings in the DOJ. He had just got his position weeks before he flew his ass out. That was one of his first missions, was to fly his ass out, doing something that was even beneath the title of his job position. If someone wanted to interview Maxwell and get her story, the bitch has already been convicted. You could have read her fucking court file. If you really wanted to get information, why would you go to her when she has already been found guilty of perjury in front of the court to try to think that you are going to get something from her? And if you really wanted to get something from her that you knew you could believe, why wouldn't you send the person who prosecuted the case, James Comer's daughter, Marie, I think her name was Marie Comey. How come you didn't send her? Because if she had questions for Ghislaine Maxwell and you had questions for Ghislaine Maxwell, surely the woman who prosecuted her would have known that, no, bitch, you lying, because that's not what happened. But no, you couldn't send Marie Comer because y'all had fired her. And now the DOJ is being sued for firing her for no cause. That's why. So Todd Blanche, Trump's personal lawyer, went and visited a prisoner in prison, a job that he could have given to dozens of people under him in the DOJ, trying to get truth about a case that he knew nothing about. Let that sink in as we're here now, talking about pardoning her and trying to pretend like, oh, it wasn't Todd Blanche who got her in this cushy prison. We have no hand in what prisoners go to. That is up to the Board of Prisons. You have to contact the Board of Prisons. That wasn't our call. This is what your DOJ is telling you. After he goes and talks to her, she's suddenly in a Camp Cupcake. But you need to talk to the Board of Prisons. A Camp Cupcake where people who are convicted of the crimes that she was convicted of are restricted from being in. But all of a sudden, she's there. Let's continue.
And then she got moved up and, got Pilates and a puppy. And so now Todd Blanche, what date she said that, she got to Donald Trump. It was just like quick, said her 3 little statements about him. They shut it down, and then she got moved up and, got Pilates and a puppy. And so now Todd Blanche is all of a sudden, he's still Trump's defense attorney, but he's also the attorney general. And guess what? She is now being offered potentially a pardon. It's split. I can probably tell you along what lines it is split.
What's your guess?
I'm going to guess it's completely along party lines. And it's going to be a very big test of the American people because, the Epstein files is a very big test for MAGA, and he has lost people recently. I know I listen to a lot of random podcasts where people are like, that would be my switch, as if he let Ghislaine Maxwell go. Like, that's the thing. That's the one thing that I just couldn't do this anymore. And I wonder if that's true. I wonder if people will just all of a sudden be like, she's the best. She was, Kennedy's still alive and Maxwell needs to be pardoned. And like, I just feel like it's just going to be this giant flip in America where people are going to be like, oh, she was, because she was a woman, she was put in prison and we should actually listen and hear her out. And maybe she's right about it. Like, I just think that the whole thing is ridiculous and so obvious. And it's such a blight on the American people's intelligence because they're just allowing themselves to become stupider and stupider and stupider just to support one person, and it's become a religion. I don't know.
It's not going to work, and we're going to remind you because we live in the United States of amnesia, and I don't want to take any risks because we have the attention span of gnats. I give you the reason Donald Trump. So with Ellie, in a little bit, we're gonna tell you all who Ghislaine Maxwell is and what she did. All right. And then what happened with Todd Blanche and Donald Trump. But there is some breaking news, Ellie, as of the past. The DOJ Inspector General is to review compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The Department of Justice's internal watchdog said on Thursday, about an hour ago, that it is investigating the DOJ's compliance with the law requiring the full disclosure of the department files about the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The audit by the Office of the Inspector General comes after months of complaints that the DOJ has failed to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act by withholding many files in its possession about Epstein and his convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Deputy Inspector General William Blyer said in a written statement, quote, "Our preliminary objective is to evaluate the DOJ's processes for identifying, redacting, and releasing records in its possession as required by the Act. If circumstances warrant, the OIG will consider addressing other issues that may arise during the course of the audit. The OIG will issue a public report with the audit's result when our work is complete. Republican officials, especially in the White House, have made it abundantly clear that they're desperate to see the Epstein settle fade from the news." This is from MS Now, especially as the midterms elections draw closer. So this is pretty big. It seems like the Democrats who have appealed to the Justice Department's internal watchdog to examine the handling cover-up of the files have finally gotten their wish. And this could explain why we're seeing, as of yesterday, maybe there was like maybe some of them caught wind of it and they tried to get ahead of it. So they're like, aha, instead of doing the right thing and, releasing the files like we promised our base, let's cover it up. So that's some good news. Your response to the latest that the...
Okay, so this link is in my description box. As you see, they go on a long discussion about this. Now, what Comer is also doing. Comer is also refusing to... now, they're in the oversight. James Comer, the one who said that Hillary Clinton, she defied our subpoena. That James Comer who can never get the Robert's Rules of Order correct when he wants to make a motion or is trying to shut down a motion that a Democrat has put up and he don't even know how to do it. That James Comer has refused to convene any official sessions in oversight. He is doing what what is called roundtables. He will not convene a session because he don't want anyone to answer questions under oath. These little roundtables that he is substituting for official congressional oversight meetings, no one has to be sworn in. So instead of doing his job and convening sessions of oversight, he has totally deferred everything to a round table meeting where no one has to talk under oath. Therefore, they can say whatever, and whatever lie they choose to tell in these sessions will have to be taken as truth, and there is no repercussions for them lying in these sessions. So these are the things that I want you to know that your government is up to. Hey, Jackson Street, it is so good to see you. Hey, Red Wings, it's good to see you as well. Foot Soldier, good to see you. Okay. Can you guys please hit the like button? So, this is what's going on as far as them covering up these Epstein files. It seems like they're going hard. Now, Todd Blanche said that, period, point blank, he's not releasing anything else. Period. Okay, we'll see. And you notice, like I say, you notice nothing about all of the half of the 3 million of things that have been released. Why hasn't anything been released about the things that made Ghislaine Maxwell be found guilty of the crimes that she committed? Now, massive.
We have breaking developments this afternoon. The United States Department of Justice is facing an internal investigation over its handling of the Epstein files. The Department of Justice's Office of Inspector General has announced a new investigation into Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and other DOJ officials over how they complied, or rather their lack of compliance, with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. A major development. The Inspector General is independent within the Department of Justice, investigates fraud and abuse by attorneys within DOJ. And while now a major Epstein investigation has been launched, it comes as Republicans on Capitol Hill are considering a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Many more are supporting a pardon. And well, others are saying we need to investigate Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general. I also sat down with Javier Becerra, who's running for governor in California today. Lots to cover right now. Like, comment, share, subscribe to my Substack. Click the link below to support.
So, Aaron Hernandez, his link is in the description box. It is also under Pam Bimbo. No, this is under Pardon. I apologize. This is under Pardon in my description box, as was the last video I shared with you. They are both under Pardon. Go to my description box and check out these people. They do great news commentary. Now, I did the tariff scam. I want to, since we were talking about the tariff scam, I definitely want you to see some of Howare Lutnick's testimony before Congress on yesterday, where the senators specifically asked him about the tariff scam that he's in, that he and his sons are into. His sons of Cantor Fitzgerald bet against the tariffs because they knew that the tariffs were illegal. So therefore, they decided to go and pay certain corporations off. Say, well, you'll get something for the money you spent on your tariffs. That's better than nothing. So they paid them 5 cents or 25 cents on the dollar. And now that the tariffs have been deemed to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of the United States, and it has been deemed that the tariff money that these uh, American companies had to pay, the tariff that the American companies had to pay, that they also spread out to their consumers. So everything that you bought was more expensive because of these tariffs. Now these companies that initially paid the tariffs, they are going to be refunded. But what if you sold your right to the tariffs away to Howard Lutnick's sons of Cantor Fitzgerald for 25 cents on the dollar? What happens is when the tariff refund is paid out, it's not going to be paid out to you. It's going to be paid out to people to Howard Lutnick's sons at Cantor Fitzgerald who paid nothing on these tariffs. It's going to be paid out to somebody who came. That's like somebody preying on someone who's about to lose their house and offer whose house is fully paid off, but they don't have the money to pay the property taxes. That's like somebody going up to them and saying, "Hey, you know what? I'll give you $2,000 and I'll pay off all of your property taxes and you can stay in the house, but you have to pay me rent." And then when the person signed on the line, they fucking throw the person out of the house and steal the whole house from under them. That's what Cantor Fitzgerald did. They preyed on people who had to pay these exorbitant tariffs that your government lied to you and told you that other countries were going to have to pay. And while Howard Lutnick is sitting up under Donald Trump like a grinning rat, laughing and yeah, we're making so much money from the tariff. Yes, and his sons are betting against the tariff because their daddy, who was formerly the head of this big financial corporation, understood that the tariffs were illegal in the first place, and they could possibly be overturned. So they were playing both sides of the coin. Understand? Let's hear Lutnick testimony. Let me find the full testimony. Here we go. Yes, this is the one that I want. The appropriation hearings. This is what we do over here on my channel. We watch these actual hearings because the hearing is where the sausage is made in government. So let's go to Harry Lutnick. And we're going to have another treat because Harry Lutnick was asked about why he lied and said that he had no business dealings with Epstein. We heard Harry Lutnick come out with this whole story. He was my next door neighbor. I went over to his house one day and had a massage table in the middle of the living room. And me and my wife, we were so disgusted, and we left and we looked at each other, and I'm never going over there again. Only to find out he made this big proclamation about how disgusted he was with Epstein. only to find out later on that he visited the island with his wife, his children, his nannies, friends of his friends' children. They went to Epstein Island when they were on vacation, and they boated up to Epstein Island. And then he tried to, it was just for an hour, and I can't remember why we had the lunch. But you brought your whole family, nannies, friends, they kids, your kids, to Epstein Island. Now, you further are going to understand in this hearing that he, after Epstein had pled guilty to the abusing underage girls. Well, I don't think they even charged him with abusing underage girls in that sweetheart deal that Acosta got for him. You know, the same Acosta who got Epstein the sweetheart deal became the a part of Trump's cabinet in his first administration. After this man gave Epstein a sweetheart deal, he was the labor secretary. The man who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal became the labor secretary. So back to Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, we find out, went into business with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, he didn't reveal that when they came out and threw the fact that he had his whole family on the island. He didn't say nothing of that. He went into business with him. Not one business, but several businesses. This is the same Howard Lutnick who said, "Oh, we were so disgusted by him, and we said we are never going there again." All of this is about to be questioned in this hearing, none of which is he going to answer to, because he says he has set aside time to talk about this stuff in the hearing that he's going to have at a future date. I forget what hearing. And I plan to talk about all of this there. Make any of this make sense? You are planning when you are going to ask certain questions. But see, the question that I have is this next hearing that he's planning to talk about it there, is he going to have to be, put under oath? That's why I'm wondering if he plans to talk about refusing to answer these questions. Now he's talking about the budget here. So let's get into Howard Lutnick questioning, shall we? The Secretary of Commerce, who had his sons bet on getting the tariff overturned and making money off of it for themselves. As he stood in front of cameras and told you, the American public, that the other countries who were sending goods were the ones who paid the tariffs, as everything in your house that you buy, because the United States is a economy that doesn't make anything. They get everything that we have in our households shipped over from other countries. He told you that wasn't going to affect you, but that affected you in everything that you purchased. But his sons are going to reap the benefits of all of the extra money that you had to pay for everything you purchased during these tariffs. So let's listen to Howard.
Subcommittee will be in order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess at any time. I would like to welcome everyone to this hearing. I also want to welcome a new member to the Appropriations Committee and to CJS, Representative Jefferson Shreve. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I know he will be a strong voice for Indiana on the committee. First one in the last, is it 40 years?
30.
Yeah. And we look forward to working together.
Likewise.
Thank you to our subcommittee members and to Secretary Lutnick for joining us to discuss the Department of Commerce fiscal year 27 budget request. The request for the Department of Commerce totals $9.2 billion, a $1.8 billion or 16.5% decrease from the current level. The request reiterates and builds on the budget the President submitted to Congress last year. He seeks to reinforce and expand on efforts to counter the strong-arm trade tactics of China and refocuses the department's trade activities on investments that create jobs in America and protect national security. The Department of Commerce has a wide-ranging portfolio. It must level an international trade landscape tilted against America, foster economic growth, conduct weather research and response, and produce statistics.
Weather research and response. Weather research and response. This is very important because we understood how all of those children died because they had fired many people in NOAA and it was NOAA of the two weather watch agencies, NOAA and NOO something else. They fired a whole gaggle of these people and left these agencies short, and therefore they got no early warning, and that's why that flash flood that happened in Texas took the lives of so many of these young children.
Statistics about our nation and economy. These responsibilities are bound together by the common goal of ensuring American prosperity. Its investments and resources are invaluable to rural communities like my district in eastern Kentucky. From NOAA's weather forecasters who provide severe weather warnings when seconds count, to EDA's essential work to grow economic opportunity, and the BEAD program's expansion of high speed, reliable broadband to rural areas, opening opportunities.
He didn't have time to worry about NOAA as Elon Musk gutted those positions. He was too busy running around giggling like what was that dog that dog in that cartoon that used to just giggle what is his name what was his name Smugly or something, Mugly or something, that he just used to go around and he just used to well, what was that dog? He was too busy running around giggling like a little bitch behind the lie that tariffs were going to somehow enrich the United States while it bankrupt the United States citizens.
And improving lives. The department's vital mission requires strong leadership and strong oversight. I would like to note that the committee only just this week received the department's complete fiscal year 26 spend plans and detailed budget request documents for fiscal year 27. Additionally, the department must ensure response to written questions from subcommittee members. Secretary Lutnick, these areas of communication and responsiveness should be a priority of yours. With that said, I look forward to hearing how this budget request furthers our shared goals. Let me recognize now the ranking member of the subcommittee, Ms. Ming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to join you in welcoming Secretary Lutnick back to this subcommittee and also welcome our new member on the subcommittee, Mr. Sharif. At a time when American families are struggling with the high cost of gas, groceries, housing, and other essentials, the Trump administration is proposing a commerce budget that would make things worse. The fiscal year 27 budget request would hurt American jobs, small businesses, and economically distressed communities by completely eliminating Economic Development Administration grants and gutting the ITA's efforts to expand U.S. exports. The administration is once again proposing to zero out the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, which helps small and medium-sized U.S. manufacturers create and preserve U.S. manufacturing jobs. It also is again proposing to defund the Minority Business Development Agency after attempting to illegally shut it down. And the administration is proposing to rescind all of the remaining funding for the Digital Equity Program, which Congress appropriated on a bipartisan basis to help veterans, seniors, rural communities, and people with disabilities afford and make full use of high-speed internet. The American economy and hardworking Americans are getting squeezed. Yet at the same time, Secretary Lutnick's own family has greatly benefited from many of the deals that have been arranged by the Commerce Department over the past year. According to a New York Times investigation in November, never in modern U.S. history has the Office of the Secretary of Commerce intersected so broadly and deeply with the financial interests of the Commerce Secretary's own family. Furthermore, the Commerce Department has been plagued by mismanagement over the past year, beginning with the damage done by Elon Musk's Doge. Last year, Secretary Lutnick, you told this subcommittee that no Weather Service meteorologists were fired, when in fact many meteorologists were fired. We learned in a hearing before this subcommittee last month that the Department and the National Weather Service still have not backfilled all of the National Weather Service's frontline staff positions that were so needlessly lost last year. The department's responsiveness or lack thereof to this committee has also been concerning. More than 10 months after our subcommittee submitted questions for the record following the secretary's last appearance, we still have received no answers. The department also failed to submit its fiscal year 26 spend plan in accordance with the legal deadline, as all of the spend plans were 4 or more weeks late, and we only this week received the spend plans for the department's largest bureau, NOAA, and for the Minority Business Development Agency, which were legally due to our Appropriations Committee a month and a half ago. The department's fiscal
Minority Business Development Agency. I want you to understand what this person is going to attempt to do with the Minority Business Development Agency. Keep that.
Fiscal year 27 budget justification documents were also late in being publicly released. All of these delays are completely unacceptable and obstruct our committee's ability to conduct oversight and to make informed decisions about the federal budget on behalf of the American people. Finally,
who need to prioritize development of minority business? Why are we bothering with this DEI initiative? We understand that this is the position of this administration. Do you think that he's not going to try to gut this? Let's see.
I was disturbed to learn from disclosures in the Epstein files that Secretary Lutnick had personal and business interactions with Jeffrey Epstein for years after Epstein was registered as a sex offender.
For years after he was registered as a sex offender. I was disturbed to find that out. Let's get back into this. Had personal and business relationships with him.
Files that Secretary Lutnick had personal and business interactions with Jeffrey Epstein for years after Epstein was registered as a sex offender. Secretary Lutnick previously claimed that he cut ties with Mr. Epstein in 2005, but the Epstein files show the secretary took a trip to Epstein's private island in 2012, 4 years after Epstein's conviction for solicitation of prostitution from a minor. The secretary's dishonesty calls into question the truthfulness of other statements he has made to Congress on the record. The American people deserve honesty from those with the privilege of holding public office. And I will say once again that the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific crimes deserve truth, accountability, and justice. I look forward to the secretary's testimony and to answers to the many questions that my colleagues and I have. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Ming. I'd like now to recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Ms. Laurel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Meng, for covering convening this hearing today. And thank you, Secretary Lutnick, for being here and listening to your testimony and have a good back and forth and give and take on questioning. From where I'm sitting, it is difficult to view the Trump administration's trade policy as anything short of disastrous. The president ignited a global economic crisis by imposing significant taxes on American consumers without any thought to whom they were taxing or why they were imposing these taxes in the first place. In case my colleagues have forgotten, in April of last year, the president announced he was imposing a 10% tariff on almost every country in the world, including a group of volcanic islands that are populated not by people, but by penguins. This would be amusing if not for the fact that this lazy and haphazard application of tariffs has had such a harmful effect on American consumers. Data from the Yale Budget Lab found that the president's trade war increased the cost of food for American families by $1,700 throughout 2025. Minor changes in our trade deficit are cold comfort to anyone who has to pay attention to the price of groceries, although I understand there are not many people in the president's cabinet who fall into this category. If the purpose of implementing these tariffs and price hikes on consumers was to promote U.S. job growth, it failed. The U.S. economy created less than 600,000 jobs in 2025. In 2024, before the president took office and put these tariffs in place, that number was 2 million. When all was said and done, at the end of 2025, unemployment was up, and the economy had the worst year for job growth since 2020, the last year.
But your president comes out, hey, Very Carey, your president comes out every day and talk about how many jobs have been created, how your wages have increased, just a whole bunch of fairy tales, because he can just talk uninterrupted, and he just lies uninterrupted. This is the Biden. Before I had a horrible, I had to take over a horrible job report under Biden. What is his jobs compared to what Biden left him? Let's continue.
Of President Trump's prior term. Earlier this year, we learned that the tax year for unemployment was up, and the economy had the worst year for job growth since 2020, the last year of President Trump's prior term. Earlier this year, we learned that the tariffs the president chose to charge American consumers were not only ill-advised, but also illegal, according to the Supreme Court. And now, after charging higher prices because of these illegal tariffs, American companies are trying to get their money back from the government. American consumers, on the other hand, working families who are struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living, they get no relief. I've introduced legislation, the Tariff Relief for Consumers Act, to ensure that refund dollars provide relief for consumers and small businesses and do not simply line the pockets of large corporations and other importers. The American people are fed up with this administration's gross mismanagement of the economy. A poll released earlier this week, an Associated Press poll, found that 70% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the economy, while only 30% approve. Mr. Secretary, I appreciate that you are here today to tout what you believe the administration's accomplishments on trade and the economy are. But 7 in 10 Americans are not buying what this administration is selling. Given the increasingly dire economic outlook, I would have thought that the Trump administration would look to shore up its domestic economic programs, to find ways to pull us out of this hole that they have been digging. Unfortunately, the president's budget request does just the opposite. The administration is proposing to eliminate all Economic Development Administration grants, claw back another $63 million in grant funding that was already approved in this body on a bipartisan basis. The EDA helps create jobs, especially in rural areas. From 2018 to 2024, the EDA created or retained more than 727,000 jobs and spurred more than $80 billion in private investment. I know I do not need to sell you on the Economic Development Administration, Mr. Secretary, given that during your confirmation hearing, you expressed support for the program and said that you intended to maintain it. The president's budget also proposes eliminating the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, which is designed to help small and medium-sized American manufacturers grow, creating more jobs.
Didn't your president say that manufacturing is going to flourish? But they are making cuts to it. Let's continue.
And stimulating local economies. I thought the whole point of the trade war was to support American manufacturing. It has obviously failed in that respect, so why eliminate a longstanding program that actually helps solve the problem? It does not make any sense. You've eliminated the Minority Business Development Agency, and again in your confirmation testimony, you assured it you did not support dismantling this program.
Dismantle the whole program. Why give minority businesses a hand up? Why? We're against DEI. This is the Christian nationalist agenda, the white nationalist agenda. You think we're going to give something to minority businesses?
Currently, there is a permanent injunction blocking the implementation, but still the administration proposes the elimination of the Minority Business Development Agency. You cut funds for the International Trade Administration. The administration proposes clawing back a total of more than $2.3 billion from funding under the Commerce Department. In addition to the EDA, the administration is proposing to rescind funding that was passed. I want to repeat, we passed as an appropriations committee, Democrats, Republicans, House and Senate.
They passed, they approved the money, and they are still clawing back the money. Now, you guys remember, I think it was Wednesday, when I played the Russell Vogt hearings. They were asking Russell Vogt over the Office of Management and Budget, a co-sponsor Project 2025, the one who said that he wanted the bureaucrats to be terrorized when they wake up to go to work every morning. You know, I played all of that information. They asked him, why is it that you keep holding back money that Congress has approved? See, because the money has to go through Russell Vogt of the Office of Management and Budget, who is a member of the Heritage Foundation. And they are withholding whatever money they choose, even when it has been approved by Congress. And this is being done in this agency. Thank God that there is an injunction for the black businesses where they cannot follow through as of yet with their cut of funds for new black businesses. But this is what your government is doing. Congress is approving this money. And this is who's making sure that they take back whatever money they choose to, for whatever reasons they choose to. Let's keep it clear.
Appropriated this money. It was part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, as well as clawing back money. And we passed as an appropriations committee, Democrats, Republicans, House and Senate. We appropriated this money. It was part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, as well as clawing back money and rescinding funding for operations, research, and facilities at NOAA. Lastly, the president's request proposes cutting the budget for the Office of the Inspector General at the Commerce Department by $10 million, more than a fifth of their current funding. We have seen how officials in this administration have exploited the public trust for private gain. It is deeply concerning to see that the Internal Oversight Office charged with preventing waste, fraud, and abuse is being defunded under this budget. The American people should have faith that government officials are working in their interest and are not just out to make a quick buck for themselves. I look forward to hearing your testimony and, again, your answers to our questions. Thank you very much for being here, Mr. Secretary. I thank the chairman and I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. DeLauro. I would now like to recognize our witness, Secretary Lutnick, for an opening statement. Without objection, your written statement will be entered into the record. Mr. Secretary, we're delighted to have you with us. This is your official Congressional Oversight Subcommittee. We want to be helpful to you in your duties, and we want to know some acting here.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for having me here. Thank you, Representative Meng, and the members of the subcommittee. I appreciate you having me here today, and welcome. Over the past 15 months, President Trump has proven that the American economy is the strongest and most resilient in the world.
Welcome? Who is he welcoming? Welcome? This isn't your hearing. Welcome. He's nervous.
Businesses look for the place to expand manufacturing, they drive innovation, and they hire more workers. They are decisively choosing the United States. Micron, for example, $200 billion investment in memory semiconductor manufacturing in Idaho, upstate New York, and Virginia. TSMC's $165 billion advanced manufacturing investment in America's semiconductor logic sector. Texas Instruments' $60 billion investment for 7 U.S. semiconductor fabs across 3 manufacturing megasites, Texas and Utah, are just a few examples of the Trump administration's commitment to driving semiconductor investment and bringing jobs back to the United States. I could spend our entire time together listing the record-setting commitments company after company and industry after industry have made to build in America. Trillions of dollars of capital investment are pouring into America, led by President Trump and the United States Department of Commerce. I'm proud of the leadership role the Department of Commerce has played in providing the support and encouragement these businesses need to revive American manufacturing, and we have only just begun. Over the past few months alone, the Department of Commerce has announced multiple $15 billion plus record-setting critical energy investments across this country, from Pennsylvania and Georgia to Texas and Tennessee, that will accelerate economic growth, ensure U.S. energy dominance, bolster critical supply chains, and strengthen U.S. national and economic security. In addition to the massive historic
We have announced billions. We have announced billions. We have announced it will cause. But what has it done? What has it actually created? What tangibles do we have to show for all of this bluster about billions of dollars that we have, we did, it will? What has it done for the United States people? What has all of this innovation in job planning and investment in America, what has it done to give jobs to Americans? So all of this investment in America, everything is about what it will do. But remember, they said that you would see the benefits from tariffs probably in the last quarter of last year or in the first quarter of 2027. They kept pushing the expectations back of all of the lies that they were telling you. They kept pushing in the back a quarter. Howard Lutnick finally said that you may see the benefits at the end of 2027. That's how far they have pushed back all of these promises as they sit around and talk about investments in billions, and you see nothing substantial come from all of this blustering and bullshit. Let's continue.
Trade agreements with Korea and Taiwan, the impressive $550 billion trade deal with Japan has announced 6 projects in the past 6 months, which include $40 billion for small modular reactors in Tennessee and Alabama, a $33 billion 9.2 gigawatt natural gas fired facility in Ohio, $17 billion natural gas fired power generation hub in Southwest Pennsylvania, and $16 billion for natural gas in East Texas. That goes on top of $2 billion for a deep water crude oil export terminal in the Gulf of America and $600 million for a critical high pressure, high temperature synthetic diamond grit facility in Georgia. Just last month, Secretary Wright and I were in Southern Ohio to break ground on that 9.2 gigawatt natural gas facility. This project will develop the largest natural gas facility in history. It'll lower electricity costs across the region, create thousands and thousands.
It will. You were just there breaking ground on it. It will do this. It will do that. It will create how many jobs? It will.
Thousands of American jobs, strengthen our national security, and help the U.S. meet the energy needs of our future. Beyond these,
he said it's going to bring down our electricity bills. How about making these billionaires who are building these data centers that are plugging into our electricity system build their own motherfucking electricity plants for their own fucking project instead of plugging in to the American people's electricity grid? How about that? That sounds real simple. Let's continue.
Historic investments, the Department of Commerce continues to work around the clock to implement President Trump's America First trade policy. Under Section 232, the Commerce Department is taking action on steel, aluminum, copper, pharmaceuticals, autos, semiconductors, and investigating other sectors to protect, reshore, and revive manufacturing. These actions have led to multi-billion-dollar commitments to reshore steel and aluminum manufacturing and restore American excellence in critical industries. In the first year of his second term, President Trump has dramatically reduced the trade deficit, lowering imports and increasing exports. Exports went to $3.4 trillion, which is a 6% increase from 2024. And in 2025, the trade deficit was the lowest we've seen in 16 years. I'm proud of the role I played in negotiating our most important trade agreement, including the largest deal ever done, which was our trade deal and investment deal with the European Union. BIS is working hand in hand with the Department of Health and Human Services. We've arranged historic agreements to lower drug prices for American consumers, negotiating most favored nation deals and ensuring Americans pay the lowest prices for innovative medicines. As a result of
yes. Let's talk about this Trump.rx. This bogus ass. We've cut down prices of medication. You can get your drugs on Trump RX. Where you are actually paying more for your prescription drugs under Trump RX. While he's bolstering that they have cut down prices of prescription drugs. They have given 6 drug manufacturers some sweetheart deal to be able to claim that they have taken down the prices of drugs. And just visit Trump RX. Every time anybody in the White House talks about the drug prices, they tell you to go to Trump RX. That over 3,000 medications are are dispensed in the United States, and only how many of these drugs appear on Trump RX? About 80, I think it was 80 to 88 drugs that are on Trump. Trump RX does nothing for most of the people who don't use those 80 or 88 drugs that are on Trump RX. And some of those drugs that are on Trump RX are more expensive than they are in the regular market. Let's be real clear, since he want to talk about that. Okay.
These deals, additionally, we have secured over $400 billion in commitments to reshore pharmaceuticals and manufacturing in America, those key pharmaceuticals. The budget includes a $215 million increase to BIS above the 2026 enacted level, which supports the hiring of hundreds of new special agent law enforcement officials to address the theft of American technological leadership by bad actors. These officers are critical to protecting and defending America's innovation. In ITA, we are driving record foreign direct investment, cracking down on harmful foreign trade practices, and supporting our 1.3 million American jobs with export and investment deals. In 2025, Boeing, Wabtec, and other major American companies secure a record $244 billion in contracts with foreign public buyers. This exceeds the $17 billion that the Biden administration did in its first year. The budget includes a $10 million increase to the 2026 enacted level for trade enforcement in ITA and $100 million for the United States Investment Accelerator. The budget slashes unnecessary wasteful spending at NIST and other groups and eliminates the manufacturing extension partnership, which I'm sure we will talk about. At the USPTO, we are rapidly modernizing and leveraging technology to cut class.
Let me pause right here. Since he just got finished with his statements about prescription drugs, all of the things that have been promised under his budget about prescription drugs. Let me share with you this. See, we went over the House questioning RFK over the Health and Human Services, but we did not go over the Senate hearing. I didn't want to bemoan you with his ignorance 2 days in a row, but I did watch the Senate hearing, and let's see what's going on with the cost of prescription drugs.
You know, in public life, we all make misstatements, all right? A couple of hours ago, I think you said to Senator Wyden that we now pay the lowest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Third statement, nobody in the world believes that. Do you want to correct that statement?
It's for the drugs that are on Trump RX.
I'm not talking about, you said we pay the lowest prices in the world for prescription drugs.
Those drugs we do.
I'm sorry?
For those drugs we do, Senator.
Well, for certain drugs.
See, what he did, he said we pay the lowest price for prescription drugs in the world. In the world. And now he's saying, for the ones on Trump RX, oh yes, we pay the lowest cost in the world for those. So he's trying to have it both ways. But what he actually did, he tried to present to the American people, and they lie and tell the American people that we are paying low prices on our prescription drugs, when they have done everything to prevent negotiation of Medicare and Medicaid, the largest insurers, for being able to bargain down the prices of drug based upon the number of people that they are insuring. Your government is standing in the way of this happening. The bulk of the people who are on Medicare and Medicaid, the number of people that they represent, you mean they can't go to these pharmaceutical companies and say, well, we represent tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans, and we need these prices to go down because our patients are using this in this amount of money and this amount, and but they can go over to France and England and everywhere else, and they paying far less than Americans are paying for prescription drugs. And who is preventing it? Your own government is forbidding this to be done. And now let me let Bernie Sanders break this down for you.
But in general, would you agree with the Rand Corporation and every other independent survey that we continue to pay the highest prices in the world? You agree with that?
Many drugs are not covered by the agreements yet.
On average, do we pay the highest prices in the world?
As we always have, except
that's right. I'm not saying this is a new development, but you said a moment ago that we pay the lowest prices in the world.
The most common drugs we do, or GLPs, or IVF drugs, or COPD drugs.
All right.
For the most common drugs, I don't think that GLPs, infertility drugs, I don't think that these are the most common prescriptions that are out here. I think things like heart drugs are out here, cholesterol drugs, diabetes drugs, surely. I think all of these strange drugs that he's talking about, these are not the most common drugs, prescription drugs that are prescribed. Now, this is the head of the Health and Human Services trying to lie to you. Because these drugs have been approved with those 6 people who showed up in the Oval Office, one of whom passed out and had to have his feet hoisted in the air, and Robert F. Kennedy ran out of the room like a little bitch, and Trump turned his whole body away from the man who was in a physical emergency. These, oh my God, okay. Okay. He's talking about those people who showed up in the White House who got a sweetheart deal from Donald Trump.
For drugs, for insulin.
Well, let me give you an example. For the cancer drug Opdivo, it costs $260,000 in the United States, costs $56,000 in Japan. We pay on the lowest prices, et cetera, et cetera. Senator Welch made the same point. All right, the bottom line is, look, there are thousands of drugs out there. There may be a drug here or a drug there. We pay lower prices. In general, according to the Rand Corporation, we now pay nearly 3 times as much for prescription drugs than 33 other countries in the OECD. You agree with that?
For the most common drugs, we have the lowest prices.
All right. I am working on legislation which is not inconsistent with what Trump has talked about. And that is, we should not be paying higher prices for prescription drugs than people in Europe or in Canada. Is that a concept that you can support?
Yes, President Trump wants this codified, and you have a lot more power than we do.
You're right. You're exactly right. And that is why I am going to be offering an amendment to the budget process right now, which would in fact codify what Trump is talking about, that the United States should not be paying higher prices than other countries around the world. Is that an amendment that you can support and get Republicans to come on board?
We will work with you, but in theory, that's exactly what we want.
All right, let me ask you another question. We're on the Help Committee. Casey Means, who is the Trump nominee for Surgeon General, was before us a while back. She agreed with me that TV ads, prescription drug TV ads in America should be banned. As you may know, we're one of 2 countries in the world. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with it in theory. Constitutionally, you can't ban it, but we are now regulating it for the first time, and you'll see that The ads have changed on TV recently because we've sent out 1,000 disciplinary letters.
You may be right, but I think, the people who determine the constitutionality of laws are the Supreme Court.
Oh, we worked a lot on it because I wanted to regulate it.
Okay, but bottom line is am I hearing you correctly to say that you would like to see a ban on
Yes.
prescription drug TV ads?
Yes.
Okay, good. There are a lot of seniors in this country who right now cannot afford dental care. Many seniors have no teeth in their mouths, can't afford hearing aids. I am introducing an amendment to the budget process. Other question. Right now, we have a diabetes epidemic in this country, an obesity epidemic. Many parents who would like to buy healthy food for their kids really can't make sense of the labeling on food products. All right?
Okay, I think we're done with the drug questions. They're talking about food labeling.
We're in the process of going through the interagency process. There's other agencies that are.
They have to go through multiple agencies. Okay, so I just wanted you to understand what is going on with the drug prices, and Howard Lutnick is going to try to go into that a little more. But before I leave, we're gonna have to see what drugs were they talking about. He said the most common drugs is what he told you. He said they are doing the most common drugs. Now you see RFK right here behind the CEO of Eli Lilly. This is when they actually announced the agreement to cut prices on drugs. This is them in the Oval Office. I want you to keep your eye on RFK, the head of Health and Human Services.
But today are you okay? Gordon, you okay?
Gone. Out of there. Shall we see that again? Out of there. Ran like he knew that dude shot up with something that he gave him. Hauled ass.
Yeah.
Boy, you can tell a heroin addict. You can tell a former heroin addict. They always run when somebody passed out because they was like, oh, I don't want people to think that he got his shit from me. Now let's see what drugs they were announcing. That
President Trump has announced a deal.
He said these were the most common drugs that they had gotten prices down on. What drugs were they?
With two major pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of weight loss drugs.
Those companies are Eli Lilly, the maker of
weight loss drugs,
Zepbound, and Novo Nordisk, the company behind Ozempic and Wegovy. The companies have agreed to lower the price for eligible patients on Medicare, Medicaid, and the Trump RX pharmaceutical website. Those prices are expected to go from over $1,000 a month to under $500.
These drugs have only been available for people who have wealth. At one point.
So how come he didn't say that these were weight loss drugs? You notice he omitted that when he was sitting before the Senate. He was very well aware of three drugs that were on this Trump RX that they made a great fanfare, passing out and running out of the rooms to announce these drugs.
The majority of prescriptions, the highest concentration of prescriptions in this country was the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
And there was some drama during today's announcement. While the CEO of Eli Lilly was speaking, one of the executives of Novo Nordisk collapsed. The president says that Gordon Finlay is getting medical treatment and is expected to be okay.
Okay, we're done.
I'm sure Kash Patel has made many.
Let's get back. Let's get back to Howard Lutnick. I know it's Lutnik. Let's get back to Howard Lutnick. Let me share my screen. Thank you all for being here. Double tap your screen if you're watching on your phone, or hit the like button. Let's get back to Howard Lutnick, shall we? Here we go. Since he just got finished lying about prescription drug costs.
Classification crept dramatically. The budget slashes unnecessary wasteful spending and NIST and other groups and eliminates the manufacturing extension partnership, which I'm sure we will talk about. At the USPTO, we are rapidly modernizing and leveraging technology to cut classification prep dramatically. We want to get rid of the massive backlog that we had and do a much better job. And finally, we have launched a new era of modernization of NOAA, where we're in the process of transferring the agency's IT system from a decades-old hardwired technology to the modern distributed cloud. This update will improve our forecast.
It won't improve your forecast. The current system would have worked very well and saved the lives of all of those little girls who was lost in a flash flood, had not you allowed Elon Musk to go through there and fire all of the people who could have alerted that area that there were about to be a flash flood, because Elon Musk and his 18 and 23-year-old people who knew nothing about the jobs that they were cutting decided to cut the jobs. But you still cannot talk about you're going to improve NOAA. You're going to improve NOAA for something that you have not even used yet. But you're not going to acknowledge the fact that you had let a fucking uneducated motherfuckers into the government and cut these jobs. Now, everything is supposed to be so improved because you have some new technology. But when you had people, they were doing the job just fine. So we are supposed to believe that we can replace people with technology and things will go better. Well, maybe you are one of the people who need to be replaced for things to go better.
And capabilities transform the way our forecasters do their jobs and will make Americans safer. The budget also includes a $135 million increase to the 2026 enacted level for NOAA shipbuilding and our improvement of unmanned systems programs. For far too long, our nation was mired in status quo, leaving American consumers and producers alike with unfair, poorly implemented trade deals, outsourced jobs, and poultry investments that failed to meet our country's potential. President Trump is committed to ushering in a golden age of domestic commerce and bringing jobs back to the United States, and that's exactly what he's done in his first 15 months of this administration. I look forward to working with you as the department continues to spur economic growth and secure unprecedented prosperity for the American people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having me here today.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We will now proceed under the 5-minute rule for questions. I will begin by recognizing myself. Mr. Secretary, the request for the Bureau of Industry and
The link is in my description box. I refuse to go through certain people, and this is one of the people, one of the persons who I will not be enduring. Let's get to the next person. Who's next? Who's got next?
A.
You're more than welcome.
Question, I just want to say that it's great to hear.
You're more than welcome to peruse the whole video. I have limited time, and I don't have time for bullshit.
That you, Mr. Secretary, and the Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first, before I begin my question, I just want to say that it's great to hear that you, Mr. Secretary, and the Trump administration is continuing the great investments that were made into our domestic chips manufacturing, started by the Biden administration, Biden-Harris administration, whether it's TSMC, Micron, Texas Instruments, billions were invested during the Biden administration. And I was grateful as a New Yorker to see the investments in Micron in my home and your home state of New York. We were so thrilled to welcome President Joe Biden to announce them during his administration. But I do want to start, Mr. Secretary. I mentioned in my opening statement that we had learned in recent months that, contrary to your earlier statement in which you suggested that you had cut off all contact with Epstein in 2005, you and your family had in fact had lunch with Mr. Epstein on a boat during a trip to his private island in 2012 and exchanged business emails with him as recently as 2018. This was years after his 2008 conviction for soliciting prostitution from a minor. I just wanted to ask, why did you publicly claim following your nomination that you were never in a room with him after 2005?
So I voluntarily agreed in less than 2 weeks to sit with your colleagues in the House and answer any and all questions on this.
A no answer.
This topic. I have nothing to hide, and I am glad to answer their questions. Whatever question.
But you're not glad to answer her question. If it's nothing to hide, that should be a simple answer. It should not take as much time as you pontificating on why you're not answering the question right here and now. You're taking more time to answer, to give a non-answer to the question, instead of just answering the question if there's nothing to hide.
Questions you have on this topic, I will be glad to answer. It's in less than 2 weeks, and we've set aside the time to do that, and I will answer.
We've set aside the time to do that. So what that means is they are trying to do what Pam Bimbo tried to do before it was time for her to answer her subpoena on April 14th. Remember, she called the Democrat Congress, gave them a 24-hour notice that she will meet with them to answer any questions that they had of her. And the Congress people who showed up said, "Oh no, we're not doing this way. You have been subpoenaed. You are going to be answering these questions under oath." No, thank you. We're going to have a court reporter, attorneys, and you're going to be under oath. So this is what Howare Lutnick is trying to pull. I have set aside time, the same thing that James Comer is trying to pull with his round table meeting instead of convening Congress in their oversight meetings. Their oversight hearings, not meetings, hearings. So everybody is trying to figure out a way where they can answer these questions and not be under oath. So therefore they can lie and tell whatever lie they want to. But he says that he has no problem, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. But he's under oath and he's not answering the question.
All the questions. So whatever questions you have, if you would give them to your colleagues, I will answer them. But today, I am here to testify about the budget. I've set aside voluntarily the time to answer those questions in less than 2 weeks. So
I voluntarily set aside the time. I hope someone volunteers to bring a magistrate and have you sign in under oath before you answer all of these questions that you are going to freely answer, that you have set aside time to answer?
Today I am here to testify about the budget.
No, I appreciate that, and we'll definitely make sure that that message and offer is emphasized. When Senator Van Hollen in February asked if you would be willing to sharing records that you have, you told him that you would surely talk about that. You had nothing to hide. What, if anything, have you done since that hearing to ensure that you are sharing all of your records?
I've set aside in less than 2 weeks the time that your House colleagues want to have me answer these questions. I am here to testify about the budget, but I have set aside voluntarily the time to answer these questions. And as you correctly have said, I have nothing to hide.
Okay. I just, why I'm asking is because our American public deserves honesty and accountability from those of us who have the privilege of holding public office. This is a budget hearing, but it's also about our American taxpayers' money. The survivors of Epstein and his associates' horrific crimes deserve so much better from this government. I do want to use the rest of my time to ask about the Gold Card Visa program. President Trump directed you, in coordination with the Secretary of State and Homeland, to establish a Gold Card Visa program. As you know, people who are able to pay at least $1 million into Commerce's gift account are eligible for permanent legal residence and potentially citizenship. I wanted to ask how many of these applications have been approved and how many gifts have been received by Commerce?
The process was recently resolved with DHS, who runs the program, and they do a $15,000, the most serious vetting and analysis of any potential applicant in the history of government. Usually it was $600. These pay $15,000 for an extraordinary vet. So they have approved recently one person, and there are hundreds in the queue that they are going through the process. But this is a new program, and they've just set it up, and they wanted to make sure they did it perfectly. And so we've worked through that. But it's a DHS program done with a rigorous.
But they pay $50,000, and also the amount that they pay determines how well they are vetted. They pay $15,000. Always excited about money. The same head of Cantor Fitzgerald. The same Cantor Fitzgerald that was on top of the World Trade Center when it was struck down. But curiously, this one day out of all days in his history of running, being the owner of Cantor Fitzgerald, he suddenly had a inkling. The man who took his children to Epstein Islands and with several of their nannies accompanying them, the day of 9/11, this is the same man who for some reason woke up and said, hey, let me take my son to school this morning instead of dutifully going to work like I do every other morning in America. And then when the towers fell down, who came out with that little smugly little grin, talking to the cameras and saying how many employees at Cantor Fitzgerald who had lost their lives. And not saying that this big billionaire company would give something extra to their employees who lost their lives, who asked that other people donate to these families, and that they were getting other donations. Let me find these comments because I'm really screwing them up. I want to be specific. I don't want to lie on this man. Let me find. Let me find this real quick. Oh, it's so much about here. Let me see. Let me see. Let me this isn't the one I initially saw, but let me share this with you. I hope this is what I'm kind of looking for anyway. Here we go.
Howard Lutnick, whose own brother is missing and presumed dead. Of the 1,000 Cantor employees at the Trade Center, only 300 are accounted for at this time, and none was at the building at that time. This immense human loss has truly devastated the chairman and CEO, Howard Lutnick, whose own brother is missing and presumed dead. You have suffered such great professional and personal loss. What is the fate of your brother?
Well, my brother was on the 103rd floor. He worked for me, and he worked at Cantor. And he called my sister just after the plane hit, and he told her that he said that the smoke was pouring in. He was stuck in a corner office. There was no way out, and the smoke was coming in. He's not good, and things are not good, and he's not going to make it. And he just wanted to say that he loved her, and he wanted to say goodbye, and tell her when that he loved them. And then the phone went dead. So while I'm the head of the company, I'm trying to help my 700 employees who are missing their loved ones. I'm just another one of them. Just another one of them.
Normally, you would have been in your office on which floor?
105th floor. On
the 105th floor. And yet you didn't go in early that morning because of a critical decision you made.
My little boy, I have a 5-year-old, and it's his first day of kindergarten at Horace Mann. So I took him for his first day of big boy school. And because of that, I was late getting down to the office. And therefore, I wasn't in the building. I was on my way to the building.
And when you got to the building?
Well, I saw the building on fire, so I didn't go in. But I stood at the door off of Church Street, where there were flags there. And I stood at the door, and people were coming out, and I was yelling at them, to run and get out. And there were police sort of around me, yelling at people, telling them to get out. And I would ask them what floor they were coming from, Someone would say 55, and I'd scream, we have 55, and because I kept wanting to get up the building and get
because
people
all
out
your
of the building.
employees were on
101 to 105, the top floors of number 1 World Trade Center, which they call now the North Tower.
So how high was the highest number that you got to?
I got to the 91st floor, and I knew if I got one employee, if one person came down from that floor, then I know that there had to be others. There would be others behind them. There would be others going out other doors that would be good. But I got up to 91, and then I heard the sound. It sounded like another plane was going to hit the building, but it didn't sound like it was far away. It sounded like it was like right where the ceiling is above us. It was so unbelievably loud, and someone screamed out, "Another one's coming!" So I just turned around and ran, and I was running.
What was it?
It was number 2 World Trade Center collapsing. So I'm standing underneath the building like an idiot, and I start running, and I'm trying to get ahead of the smoke, and then the smoke comes around the corner on Trinity Church, and I ran and knocks me down underneath the truck, and I'm sitting there in this the blackest black it can ever be. I reached up, I tried to see if I could see it. I took my hands and I put it up, and I actually touched my eye, and there was so much smoke, and I wasn't smart enough.
You couldn't even see your own hand?
I couldn't see my hand. I could feel the particles in the air. They were like this big. I could feel them going in, and I couldn't think to pick up my shirt and put. I was just sitting there thinking, I can't believe it. I can't believe by standing there I died. So I just start walking. Straight, and I just walk straight, and I just keep walking straight. And I called my wife 4 hours ago, and she was hysterically crying. So I understand why it took lots of people a long time. I'm a pretty together person, and 4 hours I just walked north. I just kept walking.
One of your other offices had a squawk box open, and the other offices were able to hear the screams. Is that true?
I don't know that they heard. It is true that we have a squawk box. Yeah, we have a speakerphone because all our offices are connected in our equity business. They're all connected to each other because they talk to each other all day, and they heard them saying, we need help, we need help, we need help. It wasn't screams. There was nowhere to go. You couldn't go down, couldn't go up. There was nowhere to go. But I don't know of a single one of my employees who got down. Zero. It's really sad, but I think we're all pulling together with the view that.
How does he know it wasn't screams? How does he know they weren't screaming? How did he know that they were just saying, we need help, we need help, we need help?
We want to make things happen for them. We need to take care of them. We need to figure out how to take care of them, give them more, take care of them. And I think it's going to be a different kind of drive than I've ever had before. It's not about my family. I get to kiss my kids. I get to kiss my kids tonight. But other people don't get to kiss their kids. And I just have to help them. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's amazing. You have 300 people.
Can you tell me what is he wiping from his face? Do you see any reason why he's wiping his face? We got to figure out a way to help them. And he just told you that he has a private equity firm that is in 2 towers over several floors in this tower. What is the question of how you will help 300 employees? Why would there even be a need for a question? Beyond the obvious that you are insured as a business owner. Beyond the fact that of that simple fact. But what I want to know is, what was he wiping from his face?
It's going to be a different kind of drive than I've ever had before. It's not about my family. I get to kiss my kids. I get to kiss my kids tonight. But other people don't get to kiss their kids. And I just have to help them. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's amazing. You have 300 people.
What?
They lost all their friends. They lost a person to their left. They lost a person to their right. And they call me up and they say, I want to go to work. I said, why do you want to go to work? Let's just go to funerals. They go, no, I want to go to work. I can't stay home. I can't stay home. I have to work. I have to do something.
What is he wiping? What is he wiping? Can somebody tell me what this man is wiping? See, he just didn't become a lying snake, a performative animal.
Let's just go to funerals. They go, no, I want to go to work. I can't stay home. I can't stay home. I have to work. I have to do something. And so they actually wanted to try to figure out how to be in business. It's unbelievable. It's great. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Now, usually, when normal people cry this much, and all of this snotting and all of this extra, especially palm-colored people, their face and noses start to get red, their cheeks start to blush. None of this, as he sits up here and rubs his dry eyes.
But the reason they want to be in business, and there's only one reason to be in business, is because we have to make our company be able to take care of my 700 families. 700 families. I have 700 families. Just, I can't say it. I can't say it without crying.
You spent hours and hours.
Yeah, you are saying it without crying. Okay, so let me drop this link in the chat for you. I'm going to drop it directly in the chat for you. You can peruse the rest of this performative circus monkey at your leisure if you choose to. Men at that age only cry for their closest in their families and never in public. Well, if that is your position, then I don't understand why the performance. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so let me get back to his hearing. Now that I have thoroughly introduced you to exactly who this man is, let's continue.
Okay. And do you know how the department would intend to spend the billions of dollars in the gift account?
That will be determined by the administration, and its terms are for the betterment of the United States of America. It needs to be for commerce and the betterment of the United States of America.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Meek. Mr. Alford.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member Ming, and our Ranking Member of our full committee. Good to see you. And thank you, Secretary, for being here today. You know, we depend on the Department of Commerce to play a central role in supporting American competitiveness through weather forecasting, standard development, trade enforcement, and economic development in communities all over our great nation. The fiscal year 27 proposal reflects the administration's effort to streamline operations, to prioritize core missions, and to make sure that taxpayer resources are focused where they can.
Mr. Secretary, during the campaign, the president made a lot of promises about trade policy. And I quote, he would put more money into our pockets and create millions and millions of new manufacturing jobs. I mentioned earlier in my opening remarks, I think hardworking families are not really feeling this reality. The president's tariffs have exacerbated the cost of living crisis that people are experiencing today. I know the president says it's not an affordability crisis, that's a hoax, but talk to working Americans every day. They are living paycheck to paycheck. It's tough. And American families now have paid more than $1,700 each in tariff costs last year. And so things are now worse because of the president's war of choice with Iran, and we see the price of gasoline going up. The president made promises also about manufacturing, and the U.S. trade deficit in manufactured goods was $62 billion higher in 2025 compared to 2024. Not exactly the manufacturing renaissance that was promised. So let me ask you, Secretary, and I asked Ambassador Greer the same question last week, and let me ask this of you. Do you know how many manufacturing jobs the United States lost per day last year, the first year of President Trump's second term?
I don't know that statistic.
Okay, well,
one way or the other.
Let me just say, this is according to the
one way or. Let me make sure my mic is on. He don't know that statistic one way or the other. That statistic only goes one way. Job loss. One way or the other would mean if there was a other, there would be job gains. So he doesn't know that statistic one way or the other. With his chagrin grin, with his smugly grin, he answers that question. He thought that he was doing his best Pam Bimbo impersonation. I don't know the answer one way or the other. And look at the little shitty grin.
President Trump's second term.
I don't know that statistic.
Okay, well,
one way or the other.
Let me just say, this is according to the Bureau of Labor.
He's so pleased with himself.
Statistics data. U.S. manufacturing lost more than 100 jobs per day from February 2025 to February 2026. That's more than 88,000 jobs in total.
But he has no reference to that job. That number means absolutely nothing to your Commerce Secretary.
It's not a trade policy that delivers for working people. Do we not calculate the number of jobs lost? And what do we think? What do we think about that? You know, this is really pretty extraordinary when we were supposed to, be producing all of these manufacturing jobs. I would just say that the other thing with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, according to them, on net, there was an increase of over 500,000 manufacturing jobs under the Biden administration. And I don't want to have talk about the Biden administration, but you all have been here for well over a year, and we now need to measure your performance against standards that you set. There is a decline in manufacturing jobs that we've seen in the first year. So let me ask you what your response to that is, in decline of manufacturing jobs.
The tariff and trade policy of President Trump and this administration is to bring manufacturing back to America. But as Representative Ming points out, when we were up in Micron, we broke ground on $100 billion plant that's going to have 40,000 construction jobs. TSMC in Arizona, again, 40,000 construction jobs. I broke ground in Ohio, 25,000 construction jobs. So the manufacturing is going to start in 2 or 3 years when these factories come online, but construction, bringing this back, 400 billion in pharmaceuticals, just 200 billion in autos. These are huge historic
let me
numbers.
reclaim my time for a moment, Mr. Secretary, because I know, but you can't even tell us how many jobs we've lost. So I don't know about what we're seeing in the future. But you this is a good a segue for me. What you're doing. Your budget suggests is all
pharmaceuticals, just 200 billion in autos. These are huge historic
numbers. Let me reclaim my time for a moment, Mr. Secretary, because I know, but you can't even tell us how many jobs we've lost. So I don't know about what we're seeing in the future. But this is a good a segue for me. What you're doing. Your budget suggests that this committee and in your budget request, you abandon the programs do the work of trying to promote American manufacturing. Just, look at you zero out the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, which provides small businesses with tools, training, resources to grow, innovate, remain competitive. You also you eliminate the Economic Development Administration grants, supporting workforce development, innovation, entrepreneurship. And let me also say, it's worth noting that in your confirmation hearing, you opposed cuts to EDA, and it's now going to be eliminated. You've got the International Trade Administration, the Global Markets Program. How do you propose that small businesses to survive and thrive if you're not going to give them the tools that they need to be able to perform, to support development, to support workforce development? It's just incomprehensible. You mentioned these very large projects that you're doing, but you're cutting all of these efforts off to deal with small businesses and their ability to be able to succeed and to grow manufacturing. Comment? What's the matter?
Mr. Laurel, thank you.
The time I just wanted to
no comment.
Why don't you just try to answer it? The chairman will. Why don't you try to answer the question?
Any comments? No, he was mute. She muted this motherfucker. And let's go back. Let's go back a hair, as he has nothing to say.
Eliminate the Economic Development Administration grants, supporting workforce development, innovation, entrepreneurship. And let me also say, it's worth noting that in your confirmation hearing, you opposed cuts to EDA, and it's now going to be eliminated. You've got the International Trade Administration, the Global Markets Program. How do you propose that small businesses to survive and thrive if you're not going to give them the tools that they need to be able to perform, to support development, to support workforce development? It's just incomprehensible. You mentioned these very large projects that you're doing, but you're cutting all of these efforts off to deal with small businesses and their ability to be able to succeed and to grow manufacturing. Comment? What's the matter?
Mr. Laurel, thank you.
The time I just wanted to ask whether you wanted me to
Why
respond.
don't you just try to answer it? The chairman will. Why don't you try to answer the question, Mr. Secretary?
Time of the gentlelady has expired. Mr. Clyde?
No answers to the questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
No answers to the question as he sit there with his shit-eating grin, and she just shoved a whole lot of shit down his throat that he can't answer to. Let's continue.
Secretary Lutnick, thank you for appearing before our committee today. I want to thank you for the Bureau of Industry and Security's decision to rescind the Biden-era interim final rule on firearm.
Answer. I wouldn't listen to the answer by the secretary. But anyway, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. I often quote this member was gave Mr. Clyde a minute and a half additional time, and the ranking member was cut off and wouldn't answer. I wouldn't listen to the answer. Right?
So what just happened here? The guy who was kissing his ass got a minute and a half more time, and when Lutnik was watching the clock on what's her name? The one with the blue hair. I forget her name. Excuse me. They cut the time off exactly. Your time is up. So he is pretending like they ran out of time, but they gave the next man a minute and a half extra to say a bunch of bullshit.
The secretary. But anyway, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being. Thank you. I would note, Mr. Chair, that gave Mr. Clyde a minute and a half additional time, and the ranking member was cut off and wouldn't answer. I wouldn't listen to the answer by the secretary. But anyway, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here. I often quote, as my friend reminds me, Mark Twain, but I'll quote you. You said the U.S. economy is the strongest and most resilient in the world. I think if Mr. Twain were here, he would say, given this administration, it needs to be. Last year, you testified before this subcommittee when I shared my concerns about I have business leaders in Rochester, New York, because, Republicans aren't the only people who talk to business leaders and people making investments about tariff policies that have thrown them into a constant state of uncertainty. And the chaos remains the only predictable thing in this administration. The past year, there have been dozens of changes to tariff rates, target country.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Who was this? That Nico kind of guy. No one is asking you to waste any of your time here. If you feel that this is a waste of time, unchain. Can somebody unlock the chains that has him here? Can somebody unlock his chains? Have a good one. Hit the like on your way out. Bye-bye. Let's continue.
Products covered, specific exemptions, and a complete overhaul of the tariff authorities being used. When businesses don't have predictability, I learned a long time ago, when I'd meet with business leaders, they'd say predictability is the most important thing. You know almost anything you want. I mean, they wouldn't like it, but at least if it's predictable. There is no predictability. And the market conditions are changing literally week to week. The ranking member mentioned $34 billion drop in factory construction investments in the last year, 89,000 manufacturing jobs lost. And I appreciate the continuity between the Biden and Trump administrations, from Micron, which is up in my region, and others. I'm proud of that. As Americans, we should be. But it's hard to argue when 30% of Americans approve of the administration's handling of the economy, 89,000 manufacturing jobs lost, and chaos. I don't know what to tell business leaders. So if you don't mind just answering that question, because I think this uncertainty is, and look, this is important. These are people's lives, families' lives. And from day to day, I hear from leaders say, I don't know what to do.
You would tell business leaders to build in America. Build in America. We have advanced manufacturing. Let's build in America. $400 billion of pharmaceuticals coming in because of our tariff policy. Semiconductors, we will have $1 trillion.
Now, we have been hearing about these pharmaceutical companies that are being built in America right now. Can someone tell me where? You notice they never tell you in the state of Colorado, in the state of Ohio, Virginia, Wisconsin, any state that they are allegedly building all of these pharmaceutical companies that they continue to tell you that are going to be built in the United States, that they're breaking ground on these pharmaceutical companies because all of this big pharma is coming back to the United States to manufacture their drugs here in the United States. But they give you no state. They just give you this vague idea that pharmaceutical companies are coming back to the United States to create jobs and do their drug making here in the United States. What do you think this is called? This is called bullshit.
Dollars of semiconductor announced investments during President Trump's administration, $1 trillion.
Announce investments. They have announced investments. You don't announce an investment. You put money down, and therefore you invest. So we are supposed to get excited that they have announced that they are going to invest X amount of dollars when Mark Zuckerberg sat right there at the table of all of those big tech billionaires that was sitting down eating a free dinner off of your tax dollars, sitting up there fluffing Trump's balls, and Zuckerberg said that he was going to invest about, I think he said something to $6 or $8 billion in the United States. And he was going to pledge this investment, and then with his mic still hot, he leaned over and asked Trump, "Was that enough? I didn't know what you wanted me to say." These pledges of investment. Are we going to play dumb like we don't know these pledges of investment? Oh, we're going to play dumb. Okay.
$1 billion of semiconductor manufacturing. Well, President pharmaceuticals coming in because of our tariff policy. Semiconductors, we will have $1 trillion of semiconductor announced investments during President Trump's administration. $1 trillion of semiconductor manufacturing. Well, one again and again.
Let me just, for a moment, let's just hone in on that. So I represent Rochester, New York. Dozens of small and medium-sized optics manufacturers, one of the great optics manufacturing and research centers in the United States. These companies create everything from eyeglasses to metrology machines. They have lenses and hypersonic missiles. Almost everything that has a microelectronic chip has a lens. One I talked to just a few weeks ago, they're trying to onshore more of their production. To do that, they have to buy a multi-million-dollar machine from because it's not made in the United States. They have to buy it from allies. It's a $10 million purchase. The tariff alone from the country that they're bringing it in from under a Section 232 tariff is 10%, adds $1 million to the upfront cost. They're thinking about not doing it. Reclaiming $1 million on these. So respectfully, building in the United States is great. I talked to a company that has manufacturing in Rochester and manufacturing in Berlin. Because of Canadian imports that are going to get taxed, they said to me, it is less expensive for us, more profitable for us to extend that manufacturing line in Berlin than it is in the United States. So I'd love to tell people to build it. We all want, all of us, Democrats, Republicans, I don't care who you are, build more manufacturing jobs in the United States, but you're losing them. And yes, you can cite an investment here or there, but the problem is the playing field is uneven, it's chaotic, respectfully, it's reckless. And look, I appreciate you. You have to be the cheerleader for it. And not just you, every commerce secretary is a cheerleader for every president. I get that. But at some point, you got to advise the president, this is reckless. It's hurting Americans. Even the notion, you're talking about auto manufacturers. The president's talking about Chinese auto manufacturers coming to the United States. They're going to compete with American auto manufacturers. But that's what we're talking about. And you're talking about China. And by the way, they're electric vehicles.
No, they're not allowed to bring Chinese cars here. Absolutely not.
Well, the president's talking about allowing Chinese manufacturers to build and sell into American markets. It's announced last week. He's talking about it.
No.
Okay. Well, you should talk to him about what he says then. I'll yield back, Mr. Chair.
Gentleman yields back. Now in his debut in the new Congress, the gentleman is recognized, Mr. Shreve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witness, Mr. Secretary. Happy to be here. Yes, this is my first day at subcommittee. This was my first week at committee, but I am, thank you. I'm also a fairly new representative. I'm in my first term, and I come from the middle of Indiana. I represent central Indiana, eastern Indiana, and as a consequence and part of that, as I came into service, came to realize how victimized so many of my constituents, sort of trusting Hoosiers from the heartland.
Okay, so y'all, I hope y'all already know that we not gonna be listening to him. Yes, who is this? Death. What is this? Death Hang. You didn't know about that? You didn't know about that? Let me. I hope this is a good clip of that. You didn't know about that Mark Zuckerberg investment announcement that was obviously a made up bullshit. You didn't know about that? Let's get into that. Why don't we? Let's see if we.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to do a for announcement.
He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
I wasn't sure to do it. I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with. $600 billion. His pledge of investment. Let's continue.
Next few years.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S.
So, Mark Zuckerberg just told the president and the nation at this tech sit-down dinner something about $600 billion he will be investing in the U.S. Throughout the year of 2028. Really? Let's continue. But let's see what Mark Zuckerberg really was up to.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
No, it's not. It's significant. Thank you, Mark. It's so good to have you. Sorry, I wasn't ready to do our. This is Mark Zuckerberg. When he don't know the mic is still on. Sorry, I wasn't ready to do our. He said I wasn't ready. He said I wasn't ready. This is your dumb president. I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with. I wasn't sure which number you wanted to go with. You didn't know about that? You had no idea about that? They did it right in front of our faces. They did it right in front of our faces. These lies about these investments.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant.
That's a lot. Thank you, Mark. It's great to have you.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to do for announcement.
He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with.
One more.
Big tech billionaires flocked to D.C. this week to kiss the ring. On Thursday, President Trump hosted a White House dinner with tech leaders, including Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Microsoft's Bill Gates, and Apple's Tim Cook. As Axios notes, the dinner comes as big tech pushes for a hands-off approach to AI from the government. And in a scene reminiscent of one of...
And they got exactly what they were pushing for. Hands off on AI. Per your president. Okay, let's continue.
Trump's cabinet meetings, each billionaire took turns showering him with praise.
Well, thanks for hosting us. I mean, this is quite a group to get together. And, I think, all of the companies here are building, just making huge investments in the country.
Thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
I want to thank you for including me
Hold on.
this evening. It's incredible to be among everyone here, particularly you and the First Lady.
Thank you for being such a pro-business, pro-innovation president.
There's a Steve Altman of
We're very excited to see what you're doing to make all of our companies and our entire country so successful.
Can we just say that is a remarkable evolution and turn of events for Mark Zuckerberg, who has never been political, has not played a role in any inauguration, sat front row, donated a lot of money, and is now sitting right next to Mr. Trump and promising to spend $600 billion, I believe.
Let's play that sound, because there's a moment where he's talking and then there's a hot mic moment that's a little bit later. Let's play that Zuckerberg sound.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
Oh, gosh. I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the U.S. Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, it's significant. Sorry, I wasn't ready to do our for announcement.
He said I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go in. He said,
I wasn't sure what number you wanted to go with. It's like...
Okay, I'm going to drop this link in the chat as well. This is the most comprehensive, and it will also be in my description box under investments. Investment with a question mark. Shall we put a question mark behind it? Investments. Go and peruse this. If you were unaware of this, it is in my description box under investments. So let's go back to why I brought this up, because none of this, all of this mouth jaw jerking about investment in the United States, as there has been no job creation in the United States. More people are going into foreclosure in the United States. There have been more car repossessions in the United States than at any other time in our government. And do you feel safer? Gas is at an all-time high. Your food prices is at an all-time high. They're breaking the people in the United States. Here's that link. I'm going to drop it in the chat. It is also in my description box. This is a bunch of bullshit. And you see that the tech billionaires are getting exactly what they want. Okay, hold on. Anthony Farrell, who is asking you to be here? Who is asking you to be here? So you want me to shut up, but you came into my chat, but you want me to shut up, but you can't simply leave. I understand that you're unintelligent, but I will help you leave. Hit the like button on your way out. Since you do not know how to leave somewhere that is have commentary that you don't prefer, and instead of leaving, you think that it is such a big boy thing to say, to tell the person to shut up. No one asks you to come here. You have free reign to go and hear what you want to and leave when you hear things that you don't want to hear. We can all agree to disagree, but you will not be disrespectful in my chat. Goodbye. Okay, let's continue. We're almost done. Of course, uh, shoot right over the guy from Indiana. Uh, we're going to shoot right by him. So let me finish with Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary, whose son are getting the bulk load of the refunded tariffs because they have made agreements with companies to pay them pennies on the dollar for their tariff debt because they were betting that the Supreme Court will find the tariffs illegal and unconstitutional. And if they did, they would have to repay the tariffs back. So they went to companies that had a large tariff bill and they paid them pennies on the dollar to give them, well, here's a little something for your pocket since you had to pay all those horrible tariffs that my daddy was promoting to the nation as if it was a good thing and that the citizens would not have to pay for it. So now Howard Lutnick sons, the son that he had to go pick up from kindergarten, drop off to his first day at this private school kindergarten that he somehow missed the World Trade Towers falling down on his whole business. That Howard Lutnick. So let's continue. Where is he? Here we go. We're going to bypass this guy from Indiana. I think that there is something more tangible and worthwhile hearing. Oh, yes, she is so worthwhile. Oh, yes. This right here is
Ranking Member Mang, Ranking Member.
So worthwhile.
Mrs. Dean?
Thank you, Chairman Rogers, Ranking Member Mang, Ranking Member DeLauro. Good afternoon, Secretary Lutnick. Last Tuesday, I had the chance to attend a breakfast for RAIN.
DeLauro, that's her name. DeLauro is the ranking member. She is the woman who has the blue hair. Now, I saw a lot of comments about her blue hair. I think that I think that this woman has a lot of style. You look at her rings. You look at how she dressed. I think that this is a woman who has her own artistic way of dressing herself. I would love to see her house. She is not some cookie cutter woman. This woman, in my opinion, has a great taste and style. The thing that I like about her is she's not afraid to wear what she likes, and I think that more people should. That's neither here nor there. Let's continue with this hearing. Now, this is some good questioning.
The Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. It was their Congressional Day of Action. Survivors came to me, told me their horrific stories. And the survivors I spoke with had one message. They're seeking accountability and justice. After speaking with the survivors, I again went to the Department of Justice to review the unredacted Epstein files, to seek accountability and justice for the victims, the more than 1,000 victims and survivors. And today, Secretary Lutnick, I have some questions for you about what I saw. Let's start with your relationship with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. In October, you told the New York Post with colorful narration that the last time you saw Jeffrey Epstein was in 2005 when you took a tour of his house, which happened to be right next door to yours. You claim you and your wife were so grossed out by this disgusting person, you swore you would never go back. But when the Epstein files came out, it turned out that was a lie. You were forced to admit that you had visited Epstein's private island in 2012, 4 years after Epstein pled guilty soliciting a minor for prostitution and was labeled a sex offender. You brought along your wife, your kids, your nannies to the predator's island. Incredibly poor judgment. But that even wasn't the whole truth. It turns out that 5 days after visiting his island, You and Epstein signed a business deal together as co-investors in a digital advertising company, Adfin. An email showed you stayed in touch with Epstein about this deal as late as 2018. Secretary Lutnick, why did you lie to the New York Post about your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, I did hear that. Please don't repeat your gracious offer to speak behind closed doors, not under oath, without the ability of this committee to question you. The American people wants to know, why did you lie about your relationship with Epstein?
The House Oversight Committee and I have agreed.
We
will spend the time
reclaiming my
together.
time. I do not accept that answer. We've heard that one. We are our own committee. We have our own reason to test your credibility and veracity. Please answer the question. Why did you lie to the Post?
I have voluntarily agreed to spend the time and talk about it.
I reclaim the time. Let the record reflect you're dodging the question. The cover-up continues. You know what? In your conversations with the president, is the president concerned about your continued relationship that you had with Mr. Epstein as recently as 2018?
I'm not going to discuss conversations I have with the president. That is not something I'm going to do.
If you remember in that interview, you said you would never be in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. President Trump has just fired 3 cabinet secretaries, 3 women, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, Lori Chavez DeRemer. If President Trump has even a shred of concern about accountability for Jeffrey Epstein's enablers, he would fire you too. Beyond Adfin, what other financial ties do you have to Jeffrey Epstein?
As I said, I'm going to answer all these.
Beyond Adfin, what other financial ties? You're the Commerce Secretary. We have a right to ask this question and get it answered.
Again, I'm not going to spend the budget day discussing something I've set aside time to spend on this topic.
I'm going to
with your
switch
House
topics.
colleagues.
Let me switch topics. A different and equally disturbing issue, how your family is profiting from your work as Commerce Secretary. Let's start with tariffs. You and the president illegally imposed the highest tariffs on the American people since the Great Depression. And your sons figured out how to profit from the high tariffs by buying up refund rights, pennies on the dollar, just as you were out there cheerleading the tariffs. As a result, federal taxpayers like my constituents may now owe your family tens of or hundreds of millions of dollars. I wonder if President Trump is concerned about you and your family profiteering off the illegal tariffs.
You know that is false. Here's reporting. I'd like to put it in the record. Howard Lutnick's old firm did not, in fact, profit from Supreme Court tariff ruling. It is just not true.
It's your sons. The
No,
reporting
his
is
old firm and my sons. It is not
Mr. Chairman,
true.
reclaiming
And
my
you know
time.
it's not true.
I have
It's
asked
not true.
Mr. Chairman, reclaiming about 20 seconds. I hope you recognize how fundamentally wrong and corrupt this is. I hope you take accountability and have the decency to resign before you are fired.
It's not true.
I yield.
Time of the gentlelady has expired.
administrations, I guess, starting in the process to make. So the Trump administration collected about $166 billion or so in these illegal.
Mr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I've got some questions for you about the illegal tariffs refund that the administration's, I guess, starting in the process to make. So the Trump administration collected about $166 billion.
Oh, I apologize. The reason why he is saying that he is going to answer her questions, and he put aside time. I would have my mic on mute. I apologize. He is saying that he's going to do that because the House Oversight, James Comer, will not be convening regular sessions of Congress, which will mean that the answers they are going to be able to put the people who are coming to Congress under oath. Comer has decided a get around to allow people to try to appear as if they're being forthcoming, but he is only adjourning convening these things that he called round tables. These round tables, no one will be put under oath. James Comer is refusing to convene a regular session of the oversight. Therefore, they can answer and lie and say whatever they want to, and they do not have to be worried about being held in contempt of court for any lie that they tell. So this is why Howare Lutnick is so insistent that he will feel free to answer all of these questions when he meet with the Oversight Committee in about 2 weeks. The Oversight Committee is not convening a regular oversight. They are doing these roundtables to further protect these people and their answers about their connection to Jeffrey Epstein. So this is our last person.
Or so refund. Since for you about the illegal tariffs refund that the administration's, I guess, starting in the process to make. So the Trump administration collected about $166 billion or so in these illegal tariffs, and they were declared illegal by the Supreme Court. And I think on Monday, CBP opened up a portal that would allow the importers of record and licensed customs brokers to file for refunds. And I know there were some problems with how it got going forward and the like, but the biggest question I had was it looks like only the first tier of entities that were interacting on the trade front are going to be eligible to get a refund. And I asked the USTR head about this the other week. I'm trying to figure out if the Trump administration is going to do anything to help small businesses in the next tiers down, who also ended up having to pay some of these tariffs as they were passed along, and especially everyday consumers, individuals, customers who just, you bought something at the store, it cost more because the tariffs raised the price of it. Now it's there's going to be a refund that's provided, but only to the frontline people who also benefited from charging the higher prices down the road. So from one perspective, those corporations are going to get a windfall profit, but there doesn't seem to be anything in place to pass along a refund to the smaller businesses or the individual customers. Are you aware of anything that the Trump administration is doing to help those funds go back to the small businesses and the individual customers?
So I am the Secretary of Commerce, and Customs and Border Patrol is under DHS and Secretary Mullen. So that's just, unfortunately, not that which I'm involved in. Right?
Well,
so
but
I'm not involved in it, and I haven't participated in those discussions.
Well, but hold up a second. I mean, I just saw the 60 Minutes interview, or I'm sorry, Face the Nation interview, where you were talking about tariffs and you were praising the president's tariffs, the same tariffs that were declared illegal by the Supreme Court. In fact, you said that these tariffs are going to make it, they're going to be so beneficial to the American people that there'd be a point where they wouldn't even have to pay individual income taxes anymore. Obviously, that's not going to be the case now. And by the way, at the time that the president learned of the Supreme Court's ruling, You were standing there in the Oval Office with him as he criticized the Supreme Court for the ruling. So it's clear that it's in your bandwidth as Secretary of Commerce, and it's clear that the tariffs are highly relevant to your role as Secretary. So is there anything, and if there's something the Trump administration was doing about refunding this, I'm sure you would know about it. So is there anything that you're aware of that the Trump administration is doing to help the refunds go back to smaller businesses and individual customers?
No.
Again,
No.
the process of setting tariffs I participate in, but Customs collects them, and Customs is responsible for the portal and all these things. I'm just
to the
not
best of
involved
your
in that
knowledge,
process.
there is not.
No, there isn't. And you know, the fact that my sons went in to that first tier of people and paid them pennies on the dollar, knowing that these tariffs could possibly be overturned because we factually already knew that these tariffs were illegal. Who do you think told his sons at Cantor Fitzgerald to go in and buy off the debt for the first rung of people who had to pay the tariffs, whom if they were deemed to be illegal would receive their money back? And so his sons went in and bought off their tariff debt for pennies on the dollars, and they are going to be refunded all the money that these companies, if they would have just held fast, they would have received all of their own money back. But instead of receiving all of their own money back, their money is going to go to Howard Lutnick's sons at Cantor Fitzgerald. This is your administration. Are we clear? I just hope we're really clear. I think there is something else. Okay. Um, let me go to some other things. Make sure there is not any. I think there is something else I do definitely want to share with you. And I think I'm gonna get out of here after I share this. And I always do check for breaking news before I leave. But this was something interesting that I heard about. Let's get into this. Here we go. I think this, let me make sure. Okay, I wanted to share this with you. I guess it's this one. I hope it's this one right here. Let me see. I thought I had titled it something different. I guess this is it.
Secrets in a honey.
The honey trap. The honey trap. Many months ago, many months ago, I reported to you about there was a 21-year-old person whose only experience was having a lawn care business, had not worked in any type of security, national security, was given a high level national security position under the Trump administration. He was a young lad, as it were, who had no experience in any type of business. Now, he has been given a high-ranking position in anti-terrorism, nonetheless, in this Trump administration. And guess who he hired? He just happened to hire another young little girl. This young little girl liked to show up on what do you call dating sites where they date people younger than them. So this is what's going on in your counterintelligence department. But you may also want to be aware that there are some silly ass, old ass atomic scientists who are giving away information, nuclear information, to some honeypots who are sitting up asking them governmental questions. And these big, fat, bloated, acne face filled motherfuckers think that these women are really interested in them and giving them information. If you're not aware about this honeypot scandal that is going on, let me make you aware of this. I find it quite disturbing. Here we go.
He might kill the next guy, the son. If he does the same ways, yeah, they didn't kill him. We're gonna shoot missiles and destroy some stuff. Yeah. But if you want to like win, if you want to like make the country do what you want, you have to put people there. I was hearing something that we killed kids in Tarrif. Did we actually? There's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. They always die in war.
We might be killing kids. Kids get killed all the time. It's just a part of the war. Now he also said that they may kill the son, which means the Ayatollah Khomeini, the surviving son of the killing of the first Ayatollah. Now he says he might kill the next guy, which is Camille's son, the one who survived, whose wife, whose child did not survive this strike. Andrew Hong, a branch chief nuclear and chemical surety at the U.S. Department of the Army. Now, I really want you to hear what he has to say about nerve agents. He is actually talking about nerve agents. Have your government talked to you about nerve agents? He's talking about someone who got poisoned by nerve agents because she didn't like to wear her proper protection gear. And he's saying that this nerve agent is so potent that if you touch a door behind someone who has contaminated that door, this nerve agent can work on you. And he's talking about it in the context of being used in this Iranian war to a honeypot. You know what they call honeypots? Those are spies, beautiful women that they can get to smooth up to powerful men. You know why Kakai Patel is so mad that they are calling his country singer girlfriend a honeypot? People who smooth up to people who have high ranking in our governments but are still so dumb that they'll do anything for a piece of pussy. That's what these honeypots are for. Let's continue.
The son. If he does the same ways.
If he doesn't change his ways, the United States are going to kill him. This is what he's saying. We're gonna shoot missiles and destroy some stuff.
Yeah. But if you want
to win, you want to make the country do what you want to, you have to put people there. You have to put boots on the ground.
If you want to make the country do what you want, you have to put people there. I was hearing something that we killed kids in Tarrif. Did we actually?
I was hearing that we might be killing kids in Iran. Did we actually? That's what she's asking. There's been some collateral damage, yeah, for sure. There's been some collateral damage.
Collateral damage, yeah, for sure. They always.
They always die in war. They meaning kids. They always die in war. Big deal. Give me some pussy. Give me a reach around. Can you rub my balls with your feet while we're sitting here? So we have nerve. So we have nerve agent that is a chemical weapon. Okay. Let's get into it.
So nerve agent is a chemical weapon. It's like Pandora's box.
It's like Pandora's box.
A nuclear and chemical safety branch chief in the United States Department of the Army spills detailed information about their possession of nerve agents.
And lungs won't work.
Your lungs won't work. Your heart won't work. Nothing. Nothing will work.
Revealing that a U.S. Army chemist was exposed to the nerve agent due to careless handling.
She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she's like, I don't like it. She just lied.
She's supposed to wear all this gear, and she said, I don't like it. She just wore like Crocs in her own clothes.
Crocs in her own clothes. Yeah. And so it's soaked in her.
And so it's soaked in her her lab clothes, and it's soaked through on her skin.
And just soaked very well on her skin, so she could.
So she could literally start touching stuff, and other people touch it like a door, and then the people would die.
Literally start touching stuff. Other people would touch like a door, and then people would die.
Then goes on to reveal intimate details about the U.S. nuclear arsenal.
So you said there are missiles underground in this has been redacted. So you said there are missiles underground in question mark?
Missiles underground.
Yeah, he gives her 1, 2, 3, 4 locations. Yeah, and he names off 4 locations to this honeypot.
Also discloses that the United States military has no official plans to nuke Iran.
We're not thinking about nuking anybody. We're not leaving nukes to. We're not going to nuke it.
And the exact methods that the U.S. uses to defend against nuclear attacks.
We have all these sensors in space. We have radars, all these sensors to detect a launch. Space satellites with radars, you'll see it. On the radar, you actually see the thing flying.
And confirms what many have suspected, that Ukrainian officials were using the money sent from the United States to buy themselves mansions and luxury sports cars.
I worked on Obama's tax money that he sent. They just stole it, and they bought houses, cars, like $100,000 cars. If they can get themselves rich and leave and go live in Dubai, that's better than, they don't.
Is it really better to live in Dubai? Isn't Dubai damn near a war zone itself? Isn't the UAE and I believe it is Qatar looking to cut deals with China? I know it's the UAE. They're looking to cut protection deals with other nations, nations that are not friendly to the United States, because Jared Kushner and 4547 sold them a boatload of bullshit and weapons, and saying that, and if you let us have our bases on your property, on your land, that we will protect you. And now all of the bases are burnt to smithereens, to the extent that our own military cannot stay in our bases that are on these foreign lands. Now, it seems like people are getting quite perturbed with 4547. It has been reported that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is feeling a kind of way. And you know what happened the last time he felt a kind of way about a reporter who was reporting unfavorable stories? Khashoggi. You remember what happened to Khashoggi? Your intelligence companies told your 4547 what exactly happened to Khashoggi was by the orders of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. But what did your president say? He dismissed the intelligence department because they had a whole lot of money that they wanted to get to. So they said, oh no, this is a great guy. Oh, I don't believe that. Yeah, this is a great guy. He gave Jared $2 billion. Oh yeah, he's a great guy. We're building golf courses. We're building this, that, and the other. Oh, we're going to make billions. Fuck that reporter. So it seems like the Crown Prince is kind of perturbed by all of the bullshit that this administration, this clown administration, this grifting administration have sold them a whole boatload of lies. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. Make sure you tap your screen twice to why can't all these because greed is actually, in my opinion, greed is the reason why all of these people can't get along with each other, and they don't care who is harmed to enrich themselves. That's the strange part about it. Now, if the United States has spent as much on the United States that they are spending in war, you notice that the United States never have any money. We can't afford that. But no, it's money is no object when it comes to war. Because what does war do? War enriches certain class of people. A certain class of people are forever enriched with war. And they make sure nothing comes between them and them getting enriched. Now, understand that 47's, both of his sons are now in the Pentagon, and they are now making profits off of wars. And they are also going around the world trying to sell their wares of these drone parts and this drone technology, of which they are proficient in any of it, but they are proficient in the fact that it is going to make them rich if they are part of the United States military industrial complex. So your president has made sure that both Don Jr. and Eric Trump are a part of the military industrial complex. So they are military contractors who will be making plenty of money. They've already gotten plenty of your tax dollars from the Pentagon. For this business that they've never been in, that they are not proficient in, they are not professional in. And also, Don Jr. also has a stake in both of these prediction markets that strangely enough, people are making millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars of making bets on predictions of what they think that the president would do that will make the stock market rise or fall. And strangely enough, these people are making their predictions between 15 and 20 minutes before your president makes these announcements in his official announcement away on X. So on not X, on Truth Social. So your president suddenly 15 minutes before your president is going to make an announcement that is going to make the stock market rise or fall, and then mysteriously someone makes a lot of money off of it, whichever way it go, and they have no way of figuring out who exactly is behind these companies. Some of these companies have just been made 5 or 10 minutes before they made these predictions that is going to garner them tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. And Don Jr. is on the board of both of these prediction sites. They don't give a fuck what y'all think about it. They just said, fuck it. We gonna get money or die trying. And we don't give a fuck about what no American think. You don't have enough money to think. You ain't got enough money to fill your gas tank up. You better think about what you gonna do for gas, because we getting this guap. We going after this money. They are unashamed and unabashed about robbing you, the American citizen. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Well, you gonna vote? Now I'm very set. I'm very I don't believe I'm. Listen, I have been saying since this man has been voted into office that I feel very leery about these midterm elections. We see what they just did with the election in Virginia. One single judge tried to disqualify the whole election, the whole 3 million people who voted to have their maps changed. One judge felt that I have the power, and I am going to subvert these elections, and uh, I'm going to make these elections invalid. One judge. So, what do you think is going to happen during the midterm elections? With Mark Wayne Mullen refusing to say that he will not put ICE in the polling places. So, let's hear about. Hold on. The last thing I want to tell you about. Hmm, where is it? Oh, God. I wanted to tell you about the lawsuit that has been brought against the Department of Justice to have the elections result actually count, and to put aside this judge's ruling on the election that happened in Virginia. So let me see if I can find that for you right quick, because it was just filed. They're trying to steal the election already. They are already trying to invalidate your election already. So, what do you think this is going to go on during the midterms? Is the question that I really have for you, and I want to caution you to be on the lookout for. Let me let me let me leave you with this. While we are concentrated on certain things, I think we may want to caution ourselves and be aware of what's going on with our energy and our water. Ever since I came on this show, I have alerted you that water will be our next big commodity. And if you don't believe that, I have done several stories about how our water is being dissipated by for profit companies and data centers. So I I believe you with this. You can look up the case that they are suing to make the votes in Virginia valid again. But I want, and if you are watching this on your phone, you may want to watch this on a regular computer. I have some items that I have linked, some solar powered generators, some actual things that you can store potable water in. Potable water is drinking water, water that you can drink. I have different canisters and rain barrels and stuff. I actually also suggested some water purifying mechanisms that you can purify your water to make it drinkable, because these are things that no one is telling you that you may want to have as an American citizen. Nobody is telling you the things that are going to help you save your life. So, you do with it as you will. But I have tagged a couple of items, and I hope it is helpful to you, because I really want to share with you uh, the dire straits that America is in when it comes to energy and water. So let me share my screen with you. If you're not familiar with More Perfect Union, you may want to get familiar with More Perfect Union because it does it gives a lot of information about environmental problems that you may be unaware of, and you don't want to become aware of certain problems when it's too late. So please go to where I have the products pinned. I can't pin products on you who watch via the phone, but go back through and check out some of those pinned products.
Your neighborhood, and then this is what's all around.
And they constantly build it.
And this is where they want to put the desalination plant.
Over to the right, down that street.
That water is for the refineries and industry.
It's not fair. It's just not fair.
This town with 500,000 residents is about to completely run out of water.
Our main water sources, they are more than 90% empty, which is insane.
Corpus Christi is running out of water, but how bad is it?
Officials are warning that city could face a water emergency.
Who's to blame? That question is at the center of this latest battle in Texas's water wars. On one side are residents who are being ordered to curtail their water usage as the city nears a water emergency.
Your narratives are constantly changing. We're running out of water. No, we're not running out of water. Our narrative has never changed.
And on the other side of the fight, giant oil, gas, and petrochemical companies wielding their power over local lawmakers.
Are your members willing to shut down operations if there is a severe emergency that's declared?
Well, they never want to shut down operations.
I came to Corpus Christi during a critical time as city council, state, and federal lawmakers have to figure out how to navigate their way out of this urgent crisis.
Drill, baby, drill. Who's calling drill, baby, drill when you don't have any water to drink? If we have an oil crisis on our hand. We have an oil crisis on our hand.
We don't matter to them. All we are is just a location. We're a pot of gold that they want.
I'm at City Hall right now for a city council meeting that's about to start where angry residents are coming here today to make their voices heard that they don't want industry to be taking their water, and they want to know what lawmakers are willing to do to stop it.
We want a city council that works for our community as it's meant to be.
With the city facing down a water supply emergency, city officials are weighing their options.
It seems like big industry in the South will win because greed causes people to simply not care about what they're doing to water and to the people of Corpus Christi.
Let's rewind a bit. How did we get here? More than 60% of Texas is currently in a severe drought or worse. But Corpus Christi's crisis is unique. More than 60% of the city's water supply is consumed by big industrial water customers, oil, gas, and petrochemical companies, guzzling tens of millions of gallons every day, billions of gallons every year.
Do you see these sources literally drying up?
Oh, yes. Yes, everybody does, because it's just shrinking and shrinking. We have to do a better job at relaying these messages, the implications.
Lifelong resident Mona Lytle says big industry's water use is driving people out of her neighborhood.
This way they can make us go away and disappear and say it was because of a need of water. But how can you say that when you constantly give an industry first deal of water? There's an area called Industry Road. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, it's 20 some miles of industry. I can take you there. This is Industry Road.
She points to the refinery's cooling towers, where a majority of the city's water supply ends up.
See everything coming out? That's the dragon. That's the dragon smoke.
Mona toured us around the Hillcrest neighborhood, a historically Black community where she grew up that sits on the shores of Port Corpus Christi. She told me residents had been all but erased from the inner harbor, with homes and entire streets bought out to make way for big oil, gas, and petrochemical plants.
All these spaces, this is where we had property. We had property everywhere. And now it's just a few of it.
We don't water our lawns. We don't wash our cars. We need water for bathing, cooking, cleaning.
Residents across the city have been under level 3 water restrictions and face a $500 fine if they break the rules.
It's infuriating. Like, I boil eggs in the morning and I'll let my water cool and I'll leave it on the stove so that I can go and water my plants. I'm just like, this is so ridiculous.
Okay, maybe water restrictions make sense during a drought, right? But then Isabella Riza told me something really crazy.
You have the highest volume water users for 31 cents per 1,000 gallons. They can use all the water they want. They're exempt from the drought surcharge. The city's own water dashboard, it shows that high volume water users have used more water in 2025 when we were in drought stage 3 than they did in 2022.
So in the midst of drought, the city's policy is to allow big industrial users to keep guzzling as much as they want at lower cost, while residents face drought restrictions. Even as water supply went down, big industry's water use went up. The top industrial water users in the region consumed over 20 billion gallons in 2025.
Is that really accurate?
Well, that's what the city's reporting.
And get this, one of the largest water users is also one of the newest to come online. ExxonMobil and the Saudi state oil company got city officials to sign over a large portion of their water to build a $10 billion plant to make plastics from methane gas. It opened in late 2021.
Make America great again. Make America great again.
And another company, Steel Dynamics, also a big water user, opened around the same time. Collectively, these 6 corporations are some of the highest volume water users in Corpus Christi, using nearly 57 billion gallons of water in a 3-year period alone, over 3 times that of Corpus Christi's residential water users.
They have to use less. There's no way around it.
So what was the city thinking? With water supply already proving fragile, why were they promising big industries so much water they didn't have?
I'm on my way right now to meet Jim Klein. He's a former city councilman who was there during critical discussions in city government a couple of years ago. I want to ask him where he thinks.
So now what do you think about your governors like Greg Abbott talking about releasing regulations? Do you understand what all of these regulations are for? But all of this, we want to deregulate things. See where deregulation gets you? We want to break the hands of regulation. This is what deregulation gets you.
Government went wrong.
I think that there's been a longstanding attitude here in Corpus Christi that bringing new businesses in is an unqualified good for the city.
Klein says the city's decision to sell water it didn't have to attract new industry set the region down a dangerous course.
Exxon Sabic company, they wanted to use 25 million gallons of water a day. This is going to be a significant increase. And so a number of environmentalists, myself included, went to the council, made public comments saying, don't do this. And if you agree to this contract, you're going to sell off our cushion against drought. And the city council voted 9-0 to do it anyway.
Industry has been hoping city council would greenlight plans to build a water desalination plant in the Inner Harbor to keep supplies steady despite drought. But the plant also poses risks.
They want to discharge the salty brine after you desalinate the water. We're concerned about increasing the salinity of the bay, killing off the plant animal life there.
What got the Inner Harbor desal project off track is it just got so expensive. Started out at a couple $100 million, and then it went to $750 million. And then as it grew to $1.2 billion, that's a big nut to swallow.
The city council voted down plans for the Inner Harbor desalination plant in September 2026. While Texas Governor Greg Abbott might be furious,
they squandered it, and then they changed their plan, and then they were indecisive about what to do.
Isabella Riza and the group she formed with other concerned residents called For the Greater Good celebrated the win.
He didn't give it to us. It's in the form of a loan. So we're looking at like $100 million for interest in maintenance operations in a city whose population has been declining, but whose industrial footprint has been expanding.
But the water emergency remains unresolved. And Ariza says the fight is far from over.
We reached out to those large users and asked them if they could tell us the efforts that they're taking, if they could project their decrease in demand
They were a little hesitant to give it. They won't give it directly to us, the proprietary information.
She showed me where big industry is putting their money.
The last election cycle, there was this PAC that was formed called the Coastal Bend Coalition. And you'll notice it says, right, responsible government for the Coastal Bend. This is how much they have in expenditures. This is for 23, 2024. So that was that election cycle.
It's $250,000 to city council members.
Yes. What they did is they even put together a list of candidates that they endorsed, and they flooded different positions on the city council.
I'm on my way to meet Roland Barrera right now. He's a city councilman, and he's one of the staunchest supporters of big industry. I want to see what he thinks about the crisis.
We need to recognize our identity and understand that in order for us to retain that industry, we need to be competitive when it comes to water. Water is a commodity.
As Barrera spoke, I recalled former councilman Jim Klein had said the exact opposite.
Many times they refer to water as a commodity. You can't think about it that way. It's a resource, an increasingly scarce resource.
So in your view, industry should take as much water as they need?
If we want that to be part of our economy, and that's who we want to identify with, then we need to be able to provide that resource.
If that's who we want to identify with, a business, then we need to be able to supply that as a commodity, not a resource for human beings to live off of. We need to be more concerned about giving big billionaire businesses free commodity and starving our local residents of needed water. Let that make sense. They're saying this out loud. They're unashamed of saying we need to support people and starve. We need to support businesses and starve people of water. Because business is more important, and they're so important that we need to give a business free things and take water from the people who live in our state.
Barrera supported the ExxonMobil Saudi plastics deal, as well as Steel Dynamics, and voted in favor of the desalination proposals.
Do you understand why residents reject that idea?
I do. I understand their concerns. But once again, what we have to recognize is we've got to solve this problem. We need to either decide, are we an industrial community or not?
Even if a desalination plant gets approved and built, it wouldn't solve Corpus Christi's water shortage in the short term.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough.
Civil engineer John Michael is working on groundwater projects. It's his fourth drought, but says this is the worst he's seen.
I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this problem almost every night.
So this is your plan for emergency wells?
We're drilling emergency wells along the Nueces River.
The city is working to secure leases with private landowners to pull water from their wells and add additional volume to the city's water supply.
That's what this map is here, is a series of landowners.
He says desalination should never have been the city's first step to address drought.
It's going to be your most expensive water. That's why there's only 2 of them in the United States, one in Carlsbad and one in Tampa. We really should have been focused on groundwater to diversify our system over the last 20 years. I've been preaching that. It went unheard. We just didn't diversify with groundwater.
As the drought continues, Barrera believes big industry will adjust accordingly.
If we don't meet demand, I'm confident that if industry recognizes that we need to curtail to ensure the citizens of Corpus Christi come first.
Is that legally binding?
No. It's just that I know those folks. I know they're scrambling right now to be able to find other resources.
Okay, so no legal enforcement, just relying on the goodwill of billion-dollar corporations that can't operate without massive quantities of water. Will that be enough? I went to see Bob Paulison, who heads up the industry group representing many of the big oil, gas, and plastic companies, to ask them directly what the companies themselves are willing to do.
Hey, Bob.
Dan, how you doing?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are your members willing to shut down operations if there is a severe emergency that's declared?
Well, they never want to shut down operations. And they're going to extreme measures right now to figure out how they continue to operate even if this condition persists and we advance into a level 1 water emergency, these plants represent tens of billions, probably tens and tens of billions of dollars of investment. They're doing everything that they can to avoid shutting down.
I mean, time is up.
There's tens and tens of billions of dollars worth of investments that is represented in these businesses. So even if we get at a level 1 water advisory, the plan is to never close down and stop doing what we're doing in this company because of the investments. If it takes all the water from the people around here to keep this investment going, do you think that they have gotten a full return on their investments, or do you think that they are still trying to get a break even in their investment, or do you think that they have broken even a million, 1,000 times in their investment that he wants you to consider? As they do not care if they drain all the water from human beings. Let's continue.
No, it's not up yet.
The city manager just shared while we were here. The latest reports are that we could be in an absolute emergency.
It's important to not overreact to every bit of information that appears in the media.
This wasn't the media. This was from government officials sharing scientific reports saying their predictions show this region could be out of
fake news. Fake news.
Water. If certain things don't happen, it could be 2 months. That's right.
But it's not a lot of time. You say we have time.
Well, I didn't say we had a lot of time, but you said we're out of time, and I said we're not out of time yet. We're not out of time until we're out of time.
Isn't that the attitude that's gotten us here? That we're not out of time. We're not going to shut these things down until we have to shut them down.
The commitment is to not shut down operations. There may come a time where that there's no other option for that, but we are not there yet.
The only way to force industry to curtail its water use is if the city manager declares a level 1 water emergency. So I went to meet the man himself, Peter Zanoni, who's been giving weekly updates on the city's efforts to increase water supply.
Are you prepared to tell the large industrial users that they have to curtail? They have to use less water starting right now?
What we're trying to balance is
no, he's not.
We're trying to protect our local economy. Well, that's why we're not in any rush to call an emergency.
Zanoni supports the desalination projects and sees it as a necessary part of the solution to the crisis, along with expanding groundwater projects and other initiatives.
We need financial help. I don't think the local ratepayers can afford to pay for water, even for ourselves, given the cost for water today.
It's not that we don't want people to be able to work, but we need water to live. Right? And the fact that we live in a country that is supposed to be great, and that you have some of the richest corporations that are outside our city limits, and here we are with crumbling infrastructure and libraries. Our schools are underfunded. That's directly because what industry wants, industry gets from our elected officials, and that needs to change.
What industry wants, industry gets from our elected officials, even if it means that we will be going without water. So that is, I'm going to end it there. Some things that you may want to take a look at. Take a closer look at. That link is in my description box. I thank all of you for joining me. I thank all of you for joining me. I'll see you here next week. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. And hit the like button on your way out. Double tap your screen on the way out. Please, if you like the content of this channel, subscribe, share, tell a friend, leave a comment in the comment section after the video is over. Do not forget that you will be able to find all the links to the videos that I shared in my description box. please go over to these channels and get some news, some information that is not broadly repeated in our for-profit media. And with this, I bid you an adieu and thank you for joining me on today. Bye-bye.